a gleam. When labor leave, vengeance bleed. When labor leave, we on we knees. When me a leave, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor leave, vengeance bleed. When labor leave, no room to breathe. When me a leave, we can't achieve. Tell them now the people grieve. Forward, forward, but who we trust? Forward, forward, still eating dust. Me a lead, same old fluff. We tired now, enough is enough. Forward, forward, but who we trust? Forward, forward, still eating dust. Me a lead, same old fluff. We tired now, enough is enough. When labor lead, vengeance bleed. When labor lead, we on we knees. When me a lead, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor lead, vengeance bleed. When labor lead, no room to breathe. When me a lead, we can't achieve. Tell them now the people grieve. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Oh yeah. When labor lead, vengeance bleed. When labor lead, we on we knees. When me a lead, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor lead, vengeance bleed. When labor lead, no room to breathe. When me a lead, we can't achieve. Tell them now the people grieve. When labor lead, vengeance bleed. We on we knees. When me a lead, same old fluff. We tired now, enough is enough.
Gentlemen, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, boys and girls. You are watching the Marcia Weekes Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados, beautiful Barbados. I'm holding in my hand the national flag of Barbados. And you just heard the national anthem of Barbados. Isn't it beautiful? How is everybody doing tonight? This is a wake-up call, Barbados. Your time is up. We're talking to the government. We're telling the government, your time is up. We're telling this BLP government, your time is up. You understand? And we're not making any suggestions of who need to go in there. The point is, they are doing a very, very bad job. They are doing a bad job. And I know those of you who are listening, you could go ahead and put the grade you're giving them. A being the highest, E being the lowest. What grade? Be the teachers tonight. What grade are you going to give this government? This is a wake-up call for them. It's a wake-up call for us, and we're telling them your time is up because the silence is deafening. When was the last time we heard one word from the minister of that deals with water, the prime minister? From brown unsafe water in St. Lucie to the fear and intimidation spreading across Barbados, we are really asking, who is really leading this country? And who are they leading it for? Tonight on the show, we expose the truth behind leadership failure, corruption, and censorship threatening our democracy. We're going to share with you something about that. D2 Love wrote on his Facebook page. It's something for concern. We all need to be concerned about it. The Prime Minister who took charge of the Water Authority 2 years ago has stayed completely silent while families pay for dirty, undrinkable water. The last time we heard from her is when they had the town hall in St. Lucie. We have not heard anything else from this Prime Minister. Inside government, division and hypocrisy deepen. And those who dare to speak out are bullied into silence. And I'm here to tell you all, I will not be bullied. You're going to have to find another person. I won't be your victim. And now they're talking about a new domestic terrorism bill and police expansion. So that is raising the fear of a law. That is this law going to be designed to control dissent and not protect the people? Will that law be against designed for people like me and you and all of us on the show? So they're doing domestic terrorism. I'm sorry. Terrorism. It was tourism. It was good. A new domestic terrorism bill. Plus, we want to talk a little bit about the creative arts being a mirror of society and not a manual. I'm sure you're seeing the discussion online about a particular video. So we want to talk around that tonight, right? And folks, Hurricane Melissa threatens Jamaica. And you know, I my prayers go to Jamaica, but living here in Barbados, I can't help but wonder whether our social structures are strong enough to deal with, these kinds of natural disasters. What about the QEH? Are we ready? So the Prime Minister is traveling all around the world and talking about climate change and the weather and all of that. And if something should really happen here, we don't even have a hospital to take care of us. We're telling them tonight, the people are awake. Barbados, the silence is over, loyal opposition. This is a wake-up call. And government, I know you're watching. Your time is up. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Let me say hi to my people. Monica Inns, Vernon Garns. We are a subset of Barbados, we're a sample of Barbados. And if we are a sample of Barbados, I am telling you, and if Barbadians really are serious about this and decide to vote, they're done. They're out, and we are not here trying to tell you, all in all honesty, tell you who to vote for, Vernon. But the time is up. When you have a government that is going to treat us in the way that we are being treated, can you imagine? The people are dealing with that dirty water there in St. Lucie, and we are not hearing from the Prime Minister, who is over water, where one of her officials told the people to drink the nasty, dirty water. And we are not hearing anything from her. But are the people demanding to hear from the Prime Minister? Aretha, good night. Diana Husbands, good night. Judy Jilks, good night. Teroni Hall, good night. Good night. Good night, Vernon Garns. Monica Ince. Yes. So tonight we want to engage you tonight. I want you to call in. I want you to call into the program tonight, okay? And I know sometimes you don't get to because we are going into issues and digging into things, but I want you to call in tonight. Lori Bob, Marcia Miller, Marva Hunt. I'm trying to get accustomed to these names with the numbers on it. Aline, I'm a big girl. Jack Murphy, good night. Joanne, Andrea, Beverly. Hey, Beverly, watching from Facebook. How are you? Sandra, Mavis, Michael, Jilks, Dalton. Hey, Dalton, how are you? Are we ready tonight? Shirley, Junior Rock. Good night, Owen Hines. Good night, good night, good night. John Clark, how are you? Watching from Facebook as well. Good night. Please like and share, please. Cammie, hey, Cammie. Sandra Watkins. Good night. M. Gardner, how are you doing? Yes, we're hoping Jamaica make it through the hurricane. We're going to do more than that. We're going to pray. Richard Burke. I spoke to my mother today. Ryan Rock. Hey, look up. Good night. Good night, Steve Moore. Good night, watching from the UK. Good night, Marva. Good night, Anderson. Good night, Kentley McCollin and Sharon. I think I said Sharon already. Sharon. This one is Sharon Innes. Folks, these are some serious times. Somebody says the water in St. Lucie. You see, we start off already and we can't help but talk about this, because really, if the time is up, the time is up. The Prime Minister says that the election will be called within the 15 months. We don't know when the 15 months, we don't know when. We don't know when. Some people speculating that it's the end of November. Some people speculating that it's in January or February. The point is that whether the other parties are ready or not, just when you think, just thinking about all that this government has done against the people of Barbados, we should be ready for this election to be called. We should be ready. And just to teach them a lesson. Be ready to teach them a lesson. Some people in St. Lucie, like, they're still sleeping. You know? So we have to get ready. But yes, we are that the loyal, somebody said that the loyal opposition is a pressure group. Yes, we are a pressure group. We're not a political group. We're not a political party. We're a pressure group. We pressure. We're going to pressure the government. We're going to pressure those in politics. Yes. And we support all, everybody. You're in the opposition. We have to support you because we don't have a strong, in terms of numbers of people inside Parliament. So therefore, we're going to use the time we're going to support those on the outside, like ourselves. You know, all of you. You have something to say. You have a voice. You have something to say, and we are going to make sure that we support you. Okay. Somebody said the people in St. Lucie are the epitome of easygoing, laid back. When you're given that kind of water to drink, and an official employed by the government is going to say that you can drink that dirty water, and we're not hearing anything, Sandra Pierce, good night, from the Prime Minister, who's made herself in charge. She put herself in charge of the Barbados Water Authority. Yes, she did that. Now, Dave, there is a document that I have there, and it says it is the People's Case Against Motley. The People's Case Against Motley. And I started to put this document together, folks. And just before our first guest comes to us tonight, I want us to take a look at this document, and we have to update it. I know that I'm going to go through it, and then you are going to tell me if what I have missing from it. Okay. So we have 12 minutes to do this in. The People's Case Against the Motley Administration, 2018 to 2025. Okay? That's 7 years, right? Is that 7 years? Yes. 7 years. 7 years. It's like there's a 7-year curse on the country. And this is prepared by the loyal opposition. It's prepared by the loyal opposition because we took the stuff that you were talking about and put it all in one document. I don't believe it is comprehensive. So I'm bringing it to you tonight. And I would love to ask somebody to help me to man this chat. Who can man the chat for me? Is Angel Humble on? Or can look up, or can somebody help me to man this chat to see what we're missing, and so people can help us to put it up. The People's Case Against the Motley Administration. 1, governance, transparency, and accountability. So these are the things that we have there. Lack of transparency in public spending. For example, we have Carrie Festa, Hope Housing, the Project Week gathering events, Whole Town Civic Center sale remain shrouded in secrecy. Selective accountability, reports of political favoritism, cronyism, and contracts to connected individuals. Political victimization, which we're going to talk about tonight, based on a post by D2 on his Facebook page. Critics, civil servants, and artists allegedly marginalized for dissent. Oversized cabinet, one of the largest per capita in the region. You believe that? Reshuffles with little accountability. PM's frequent travel, perceived as global image seeking while domestic issues worsen. Is there anything else under governance and transparency and accountability that we need to put in there, guys? So this is why we're telling them their time is up. This is our case. We are putting this case against this government, and this is a document that we are putting together, and we are going to send it all over Barbados. The sale of the government headquarters at Drill Hall. Okay. Right. That would go under the sales that we don't know. We don't know much about it. Correct, Cami. The economy, debt and financial management. Record national debt despite IMF restructuring. Persistent austerity and loss of sovereignty. High cost of living, inflation, stagnant wages, and widening inequality. Tourism overdependence, incentive to foreign developers, exclusion of locals. Foreign investment, land sales, enclaves, and lack of transparency on external partnerships. That is the economy, debt, and financial management. This is our case against the motley government. We are building a case against the motley government. Laws, rights, and democracy. Oh my goodness, don't even mention laws. Cybercrime Bill 2024 threatens free speech and digital expression. Trident ID. Digital ID system raises data privacy and surveillance fears. Citizenship and immigration bills seen as undermining national security and identity. Republic without referendum. Transition done without public input or new constitution. The Tint Bill criticized as overreaching and amid public hardship. Is there anything on the laws, rights, and democracy? It seems a little like we're missing things there. The integrity, yes, the integrity in public life bill is not there. Yes, thank you. Who is that? That's Lori Bob. Yes, and we're going to bring this back on a night because we're putting this document together, yes? And so this is the thing about this show. We're not joking. We took what you put in the comment section and we put it in this document. You remember the night when when everybody was typing in the comment section? Yes. So we went and we did our work and put it together, and we're going to bring it back to you. Social and community issues. Let's see if we can finish. We literally have 6 minutes. Housing crisis, mismanagement of the 60 million Hope project, rising rent and delays. Sugar workers and co-op scandals. Promises unfilled, mismanaged benefits. Poverty and inequality, increased social distress, youth joblessness, underfunded programs, healthcare decline, QE8 staff shortages, supply issues, and immigration of nurses, water and infrastructure failures, chronic St. Lucie brownwater issue, and poor roads. Freedom of Information Act. I see that, Aline. Somebody make sure you help me to catch and send it to me. Look up who will do it for me. Somebody help. Adrian Hines, are you there? If you're there, help me to catch the chat, somebody. Crime, justice, and morality. If you're just joining what we're doing, we've built a document, and the document is a people's case against the Motley's government. Okay? Record crime levels, gun violence, murders, and lack of prevention strategy. Known criminals in parliament, public outrage over political normalization of crime. Moral decline, pet politics seen as distraction from hardship, erosion of values, decline in decorum, leadership, and accountability. Agricultural issues, where would we put that one? We're going to talk about, Richard going to talk about this inside the internal BLP government, dysfunction and betrayal of trust, silencing of independent voices, and you have Thorne, Prescott, Cattle, etc. marginalized. We should have Haynes there for sure. Junior ministers are used as shields for unpopular policy rollouts. The collapse of integrity, party accused of being image-driven and autocratic. Refusal to invest in agriculture. After 7 years under the national sentiment, tell me if you agree with this or not. After 7 years under the Motley administration, citizens expressed frustration over poor governance, high debt, inequality, weak institutions, and rising crime. There is growing demand for transparency, justice, and a people-centered Barbados. Yes? Yes, the PM not using commercial flights. Dave, if you could go back, thank you. Go back to the okay, if you go back to the top, thank you. The top of the document, thanks. All right. The people's case against the Motley administration, 2018 to 2025. And if they look, we have a long list of issues. Long list. And that's why I am saying your time is up. Your time is up. The people are up. The people are up. We're going to get back to this tonight. But before we do that, I'm going to speak with Umar Abdullah from Trinidad and Tobago. And he's going to talk to us about what is happening there concerning the U.S. Military station, because they've set up a station there in Trinidad. And so we're going to talk about that. And are they silencing the voices of those who are opposing the occupation that is happening there? Yes. So we're going to invite him in, and be aware that a little later in the program, we want to dissect the whole issue with Sonia Brown. Okay, or the potential challenge issue there. And we know she was on Starcom today. We do have that recording from Starcom that we're going to play. And we're going to look at, again, we're going to review some challenges with Michael Lashley. We're going to review them. And there's some other things, some other questions that we have to ask concerning bounty, etc. We have some questions to ask concerning Mr. Lashley. We want to go down in St. Michael East. And what's happening to Trevor Prescott? I hear that they're trying to put a prophet down there. Then they were trying to put the guy that does the homeless, shelter down there. They're trying to move out Mr. Trevor Prescott as well. So we want to have some discussions about that tonight, because there is trouble in the camp indeed, because Sonia said she is like the Rock of Gibraltar and they are not moving her. So we're going to discuss that tonight, okay? All right. So let's just welcome Umar Abdullah from Trinidad. Welcome, Mr. Abdullah.
Greetings, my dear Marcia Weekes. How are you? And how are your viewers? A pleasant good night to everybody. I'm glad to be with you again. And it's really a happy feeling, because we have to be thankful for these opportunities that we have to still be able to speak and still be able to raise our voices in defiance of what is what is against us right now. war is imminent. And, you know, I'm not too sure if a lot of people understands what the Caribbean region is heading into, and how our leaders responding, and how they should respond. This is very important. So again, thank you for having me, and we thank Almighty God for giving us the opportunity to still have the freedom of expression and some freedom of speech. And I say some because the war's already started, and part of war, especially in these times, one of the strategies of war is to silence the population, the citizens, those who they would call the dissidents.
Yes.
And they use a number of tactics in doing this. Just recently, just a couple of days ago, I was restricted.
Before you start there, can you give us an update, because we saw this huge warship that was supposed to be docking in Trinidad. Talk to us. What's happening in Trinidad? What's happening on the ground? How are people responding to that in Trinidad?
Well, it's not docking anymore. It's here, and our ports are practically, well, it's closed right now in Port of Spain. So no business or port business is taking place there in Port of Spain. We are very much concerned about that, because if it is, and first of all, let's look at some, you know, the facts as it is. First of all, if the Americans have issued clear statements, you know, which anyone listening to those statements and those comments coming out of Donald Trump would translate it to mean that we are going to invade Venezuela. And if those statements have been made, and Venezuela is, you know, mustering and gathering all their military forces, military equipment, and machinery in preparedness for this, and we see where Russia and China is already gearing up their logistical support and their, you know, military support as well for Venezuela and other countries in South America. Trinidad and Tobago taking the position to take the side of America and allow America to bring their ships on our shores. That is sending a signal to Maduro that you are also part of this equation. All right, you actually this is you know, what I would say, but it may not be an act of war on our part, but it's certainly sending very, very disturbing signals to Venezuela. All right, and we as a country needs to be very concerned about this. Trinidad and Tobago, it's a small place. All right, and we have a lot of American installations here, military installations in Trinidad and Tobago. And if we are having this type of military presence, and there is going to come a time when Maduro, Russia, and China is going to respond to America, they're certainly not going to leave you know, those installations safe here in Trinidad and Tobago. They are going to attack those installations, because if Trinidad and Tobago is used as a launching pad, obviously we all know what could happen. And you know, apart from that, we have the closure of our ports. What you're actually doing is halting the operation at our ports at a very, very critical time in the year, which is close to Christmas and Carnival. And as you would know, a lot of importation of goods and services do come into our country around this time. And when you close the ports operation, you are sending back this country's operation 3 weeks at least. And that's going to be a lot of, you know, hold up on the ports. A lot of people are not going to get their goods and services and so on. And that's a worrying something for us as well. We don't have any eyes on the ports, so we would be least aware of what is happening there, what's coming in, what's leaving, and if they're going to use this opportunity in the absence of our eyes on the port, in the absence of that, to conduct any clandestine operation that may perhaps lead to the escalation of this impending, war that is being sounded.
Mr. Abdullah, talk to me about the average Trini. What is, as you go about your day-to-day activities, what is that like for you in Trinidad? Is there a lot of discussion and people are taking different sides? Because I know that the Prime Minister would have just won that election, not even a full year yet, right?
Yeah.
And so she has very strong support in the country because she would have won majority of the seats. Is that changing on the ground? Does she still have that kind of support?
Well, I wouldn't say she's losing the support. What I would say is that she's losing a lot of the hearts and love of the people. They're very much concerned about the decisions that she's taking and her actions and so on. And they're talking about this, and they're calling for her to account for these actions and these decisions that she's making. What you're doing, you have actually, signal to Venezuela that you are an ally of the United States of America. All right, and you are sending very disturbing signals to our closest neighbor, Venezuela, and this has to be very worrying for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. Friday, I think 2 Fridays in back to back, we had one of our politicians here, the leader of the MSJ. He mounted a protest in front of the American embassy with some members of the NJAC party as well. I think were present there as well. And they read out some statements and so on. They are also calling for a zone of peace and for us to recognize and continue to preserve that zone of peace here in the Caribbean region. There are a lot of, on Facebook, you go on the social media, platforms, you're going to see a lot of, a lot of concerns being raised by the citizens, questions being asked, and all of that. And on top of all of that, we have this issue that's unfolding within our parliament here in Trinidad and Tobago, the discussion of the our finances and so on. The budget debate has just ended, and all these things are raising very a lot of questions and concerns among the citizens here in Trinidad and Tobago. The question may be asked by someone who is looking on our situation. Why have they not seen any Venezuelans, protesting in front of the American embassy? All right, and there may be perhaps a lot of reasons for that. We have to understand a lot of our Venezuelan nationals here in Trinidad and Tobago, they're undocumented. So there is going to be a natural fear of they coming out in the open and they being targeted and being held and locked up and so on and sent back to Venezuela. We have other issues that may be aligned to their not coming forward and not standing up and so on. But there have been word on the ground where Venezuelans, a lot of them are supporting the idea that the possibility that Maduro would be removed from power, from office.
Okay, so a lot of the Venezuelans in Trinidad, they are hoping that Maduro is actually removed.
Right.
So therefore, they would be supporting Kamla.
Well, I wouldn't say that. This is such a sensitive issue, and it invites so much discussions from all different angles. The thing is, everybody knows what America is doing, all right? We have this large catchment of oil in Venezuela and gas reserves and gold reserve. If America would get their hands on that oil, they'll be able to sell that oil in US dollars at a very competitive price, as opposed to what Saudi Arabia is doing and the other oil producing nations. All right. We have BRICS. We have this alliance by India, Russia, and China that's selling oil in their own currency. All right. All this is affecting America economically. All right. And America needs to be successful in getting control of those oil reserves. All right. My guess is, and my opinion is, and has always been, America is not about assisting in the drug or the destroying the drug trade here from Venezuela to Trinidad and so on and so forth. That's just something that they are trying to sell the leaders of the Caribbean nations so that they can get a foothold in our waters. This is occupation, Marcia Weekes, and everyone who's listening. This is occupation by all means. All right, and what Kamala is doing, she's signaling a very she's indicating to Venezuela that she is an ally of America.
But
Venezuela has a lot of.
Can I pause you there a minute, Mr. Abdullah? And I want to go on to the censorship issue, but I want to raise this point in trying to bring a bit of balance concerning Kamala, your Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. That really, history tells us that she's not the first Prime Minister to be supportive of these kinds of activities, then military activity in the region. And I've often said we need some time to go through the history of that, because we are right now trying to single out the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. But really, I think the issue is very complex, because you take, for example, Guyana. One wonders how Guyana feels with Donald Trump, staging this, as you said, it's an occupation in the Caribbean, but with the idea, and the mission of removing Maduro. One really wonders. I wonder how Guyana really feels. I spoke with a Guyanese this evening, and he was talking to me, and I at some point I'll ask Dave to put this up, where a Venezuelan blew up an entire gas station, and it's actually the third time that a Venezuelan that they have brought bombs to blow up different parts of Guyana. And somebody might say it's not related. The person I spoke with today is saying now they're looking into it to see, are these people, or did they come over to destabilize Guyana? And that those questions would come about, Mr. Abdullah, because of the December 2023 referendum that Maduro has. And I think sometimes, us in the Caribbean, we are kind of sanitizing Maduro, and we are putting him in gloves, or we're kind of we're kind of sanitizing him and forget what happened December 2023. And while we don't agree with all of what Kamala is doing, I sometimes wonder, because I'm not here agreeing with Trump, but what I'm saying is I wonder, what is Guyana really thinking at this point? And do they feel a little safer? I don't know. I'm just wondering, and for us all to remember that this is not the first time this has occurred in the region. Yes, it's different, but it's not the first. And there were different Caribbean countries at different times that sided with the US. Even Jamaica were under Edward Seaga, if you remember. There's a time when St. Vincent allowed for America to use St. Vincent as a military base. There was a time that Barbados under Tom Adams did that. So what Kamala is doing, one could argue that it's not unusual. It's not like it's never been done in the Caribbean. She's not the first. Your thoughts, Mr. Abdullah?
Well, obviously, the Guyanese leadership, I am guessing it might be a bit of a relief to them, thinking that Maduro would be ousted from power, and a regime change in Venezuela could mean a lot for the region. All right. That being said, we have to take into consideration what would have caused and led up to much of what we're seeing happening in Venezuela, and who were the orchestrators, and who were the persons complicit in bringing Venezuela to the point where she is. And I'm saying this to mean the sanctions on Venezuela would have obviously played a very major role in what would have caused and led up to what is happening now in present Venezuela. If you have a country and you have 30+ million people to feed, and you're responsible for these people to ensure that they have proper housing, clothing, food, etc., education, health, and so on. Obviously, if there are sanctions in your country, you are going to be placed in a very, very difficult situation to manage the affairs of your country.
Yes.
And if you have this so much of flour, you wouldn't put it on the shelves and allow Venezuelans to come and buy how much they want. You're going to have to ration that flour, and to ensure that every Venezuelan gets some of that flour.
Yeah.
All right. And this is basically what I saw happen in the last decade. And America would have very strategically and meticulously led this, I would say, this incursion into Venezuela to cause and bring the entire regime into this position. So they created the problem, and now you are attempting to come and solve the problem.
Yeah.
Right? We have Kamala on the side indicating in clear terms it's not an act of war, as I said, it's an act of aggression on the part of Kamala. We had the rest of the Caribbean countries, islands, their leaders are coming clearly and saying we want to maintain and preserve this zone of peace in the Caribbean region.
But can I
Guyana having the experience.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
touching on it because I wanted to, and I don't want
Guyana,
to.
Guyana having the experience. Guyana having the experience of Maduro, the actions of Maduro in recent times, where he had claimed part of Guyana, and he was prepared. Already, he would have sent troops on the border.
Exactly.
All right, waiting to annex that part of Guyana onto himself. Right. This is what happens when you have become a desperate man. All right. Desperate to hold on to power. Number one, desperate to hold on to hold on to your country. All right. And I am saying that you are going to make mistakes. You are going to do stupid things. All right. And if you're not pushed in that direction.
I honestly, that is a big stupid thing, and I'm watching to see how the and I think it's more than stupid. I honestly think he's a bully, and it's just that, as a person says, a bigger bully now is coming to deal with him, and finally, Guyana, because we sometimes behave like, he didn't do it to Guyana, and even the CARICOM leaders, it's like they're cuddling him, Maduro, and not realizing that Guyana feels safer now, because
I myself, and I want to make it categorically clear, I myself For those who's probably confused, I myself wants Maduro to be removed from office. He has to go, right? But at the expense of what? This is the question. Why it is the rest of the Caribbean countries have to get involved in this endeavor by the United States. All right? United States is the biggest consumer of drugs, cocaine and marijuana in the Western Hemisphere. All right? And if you're concerned about drugs in your hemisphere, I think you should start at home. Why didn't you put your ships at your borders and bomb those boats coming in with drugs into your country? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you send a SEAL team into Venezuela and apprehend or take out Maduro, as you would have done in cases in other situations before? All right? This is nothing new to you, America. You have the ability to shut down these boats that are in the waters and, according to you, carrying drugs. We have in our newspapers within the last couple of days, I saw there was an article that says there was an increase in marijuana since these bombings was taking place. All right? I want to err on the side of caution in accepting that narrative, because we would have gone and we would have spoken to some cocaine addicts here in Trinidad and Tobago, and they have emphatically stated cocaine, the price of cocaine has never gone up. All right? And most of the drugs that is expected to be on these boats are cocaine, not marijuana. All right? We would have had 2 recent drug busts in Trinidad and Tobago, marijuana drug bust in Trinidad and Tobago, and that perhaps would have led to the rise in cost of the marijuana, right? So why the cocaine price hasn't gone up? If that's your argument, or that's your narrative, right? Why hasn't it gone up? Why only the marijuana? But I remember there were two marijuana busts here in Trinidad and Tobago, huge marijuana fines. And that obviously would have put a dent in supply and demand in Trinidad and Tobago, which obviously would send the price up, right? Why have not the cocaine price gone up? Why? Right? So we are asking real questions, and we are asking for real answers, right? So I see you have my name up there on the screen.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Now, we have just 6 more minutes in this segment, but I know that we took up a bit talking about the issue, and we need people to understand it before we talk about the censorship. So talk to us in this 6 minutes that we have left, 5 minutes. What has happened to you since, is it yesterday?
A couple of days, about 3 days ago.
3 days ago. So can you tell us in 5 minutes, as they've put up these the evidence that you have, that your WhatsApp account has been restricted? Everybody, you got to listen up now, guys. This is very important. Very important. This is serious. So this is what has happened to this gentleman, Mr. Umar Abdullah. Talk to us about this.
Right. So I want to first start from when my other number, that's the other WhatsApp number that I had before.
You have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
That number was banned on WhatsApp because I had a lot of connections, a lot of broadcast lists on that account, about 9 broadcast lists, and every broadcast list has a number 257 persons you can add on each list. So you can just imagine the amount of reach, the wide reach I had on that particular thing, and that number was banned. I had some issues with this particular number, and as well, I was able to get it back. All right, and whilst I was sharing information regarding the issue with regards to the impending war, what is happening in Venezuela, what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago, the decisions Kamala is making, and I'm advising the government I'm advising civil society, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, putting forward the facts, all right? It's not my opinion, it's the facts, it's what's out there, all right? And I'm just bringing it in a nice way, to inform them, all right? And I've been circulating this information as I've been circulating information before. And I would have attempted to send Penelope Beckles, which is the opposition leader, an email asking her to take this matter to the parliament. And I attempted to make a call to her. And after I attempted to do that, I got a message, that message that you posted there, indicating that my WhatsApp number has been restricted and I would not be able to communicate with any new persons. All right. So all communications that I'm having, or conversations that I'm having, I could continue with those, but no new conversations I can have. And I was actually locked out from sending messages to certain groups and certain individuals. Because when I attempted to do that,
let's just summarize, because I think this is people, you all need to hear this, because you see, this is what is happening. They don't want, it seemed to me, because I was shocked. I asked you to send me the proof, and it's right here. Your account is restricted right now, and I was that. Yes, your account is restricted. Was that at 5:57?
Yeah.
Right. On that particular day. And what happened was that he was making a call to the opposition leader in Trinidad and Tobago. This is serious, folks. If you're from Trinidad, you need to be sharing this right now. He was making a call to the opposition leader in Trinidad and speaking about the war and what are some of the issues that must be raised in Parliament. And just as he got off the phone, he realized that he could only answer calls. You can answer calls, reply to new messages, and keep messages in your chats and groups. But there are some things that you can't do on WhatsApp. I didn't even know that was possible. So go over. Can you just repeat what are the things that your WhatsApp is saying that you are restricted from doing?
Well, I was not able to send any new messages, right, to any new persons. Like Miss Beckles, she was one of my new contacts, right? And I never had any communication.
That's the opposition leader.
That's the opposition leader. So I never had any communication with her before. So this was my first attempt to communicate with her. I sent her an email, the same thing I sent her in on WhatsApp to ensure that she would get it. And also I attempted to make a call to follow up with that information that I sent for her, because I actually gave her the information that is required to raise this motion in Parliament as an emergency situation. So I was just merely calling her to check her WhatsApp, check her email. Didn't want to have much conversation with her because I know how these things go, and just so that she would at least look at it, because all the information was in the messages that I would have sent, and I also would have attached that document that they have to present in Parliament to raise the motion. So I actually did the motion for her. I did it. All she had to do was put in her name and take it to Parliament. That's all she had to do. So the thing about it is that this is where it starts. Censorship. And I said it at the beginning of the program, the war has started, because this is part of war. Censorship. All right? You look at the wars in other countries. Look at what happened between Russia and Russia and my brain is so anyway. But that war with Russia and their closest neighbor, right? The thing about it is that there were a lot of censorship. All right. Whenever there are wars, they censor people from sharing messages, and look at what was happening in Palestine and Israel. A lot of the Palestinians were unable to get messages out, and so on and so forth. Reporters were actually killed, murdered in those in trying to get the news out, etc., etc. This is the length that they would go, right? So I have come to the understanding that I have to be very, very cautious with my personal self, my family, and so on. So, because I don't know what it is. According to the SOFA agreement that they signed, they could pick anybody up that they feel is posing to be a threat, and just lock them up and lock them away. All right.
Wow.
They did it to me in the past when we didn't have no legislation in place. When there was no legislation in place, they did it to me in the past. For the CHOGM that was held in Trinidad and Tobago, I was detained for the entire duration of the CHOGM because I was viewed as a threat to the French president, and
Wow.
they did it. All right. So
therefore, one would assume then that your phone was tapped, because how would they know that you were talking to the opposition leader, and they have made it impossible for you to have a conversation with her with that particular phone, because now because she's a new number, you are not able to contact her.
Right. That's on WhatsApp. That's on WhatsApp. But I am able to call her direct. And I did make a direct call, but I didn't get through the direct call. So I decided that.
Do you know the problem with the direct call? What's the problem with the direct call?
Well, the direct calls, I'm able to make the direct calls. But what I'm saying is that because of the sensitivity of the situation, I prefer to have this conversation on WhatsApp. All right.
Correct.
So that's why I made the attempt to communicate.
Tell you what, Umar, they know that too. There are times when they will make sure that I know that they will that the WhatsApp doesn't work to force you to go to a direct call.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
People,
it happens all the time.
Be careful of those direct calls, because that's where they can really get into the conversation. So they're forcing you to talk to her on a regular number, the opposition leader, so that they can always hear what you have to say. Guys, this is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. And we're so Umar, all we can say is stay safe. Stay safe, sir. And I know you're a fearless man, and you will continue to work on behalf of the people, but try to be safe. Okay.
I just want to end by saying this one thing. Let us not allow silence to be the soundtrack of our suffering. Silence is not neutrality. It is complicity. Let us remember that.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you, Umar. And we're going to keep in touch with you. I'm going to keep checking you out, okay, to know what is happening. All right. Keep speaking. Thank you.
Okay, then. Take care. Bye. Thanks.
Yes,
good night to all your viewers.
Good night. Wow, guys, you see, all of that is happening. This is we're in war. We're in war, whether we want to believe it or not. It's happening among us, around us, and there Barbadians. There's something that we need to look at. It's the RSS. The RSS is funded by the U.S. Based on what I've seen. And those soldiers, those regional soldiers, are mainly trained by the U.S. So what if the U.S. needs the RSS, the Regional Security Service? They are trained here in Barbados. Anybody ever thought about that? Well, look at Grenada. Grenada has not even answered yet. That poor guy is out traveling there and traveling there. I think he's back home in Grenada now, but I think he's a little scared. All right, but tonight, guys, we're going to switch gears tonight, and we're going to talk about the understanding the youth and their expressions. But before we do that, I see that Dave has a song that he wants to play. And just reminding you that after this segment where we talk about the youth and their expressions, then we're going to move to talk about Sonia Brown. And we have to go back to Michael Lashley. Come on, we've got to do some revision with him. We want to talk about Trevor Prescott and that fake prophet that wants to take over his constituency. We're going to talk about that tonight. Okay. All right. So go right ahead, Dave.
You say when labor leads, Bajan succeed. Well, here we now. This the people creed. Oh, yeah. When labor leads, Bajans bleed. When labor leads, we find we knees. When me a lead, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor leads, Bajans bleed. When labor leads, no room to breathe. When me a lead, we can't achieve. Tell them no, the people grieve. Say progress, but who it feed? Promise sweet, but none succeed. Small man strain can't meet he need. Tell me again who really lead. Bills climb high, hope get lean. Talk sound good, but life still mean. Every day we toil and dream, still waiting on that brighter gleam. When labor leaves, Bajans bleed. When labor leaves, we found we need. When me a leave, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor leaves, Bajans bleed. When labor leaves, no room to breathe. When me a leave, we can't achieve. Tell them now the people grieve. Forward, forward, but who we trust? Forward, forward, still eating dust. Me a lead, same old fluff. We tired now, enough is enough. Forward, forward, but who we trust? Forward, forward, still eating dust. Me a lead, same old fluff. We tired now, enough is enough. When labor leaves, Bajans bleed. When labor leaves, we turn we knees. When me a leave, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor leaves, Bajans bleed. When labor leaves, no room to breathe. When me a leave, we can't achieve. Tell them now the people grieve.
Let me tell you, this song is living rent free in my head. Somebody said it's too sweet. I love it. Very, very sweet melody. Well, tonight we have with us for the first time on the Marcia Weekes Show, Mr. Damian Fanos, and he's an attorney at law. And he's also one of the regular guests on the DLP TV, and sometimes a host, and he does a fantastic job. So we have the privilege of having him here on the Marcia Weekes Show tonight. Welcome to Mr. Damian Fanos.
Hi, good night, Marcia. Good night, viewers. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear, I believe. Keep speaking.
Hi. How goes it?
A little low, and you're a little low. If you could, whatever it is, you could turn up the volume a little, probably on the computer, a little low. And guys, in the meantime, we're going to ask you to share up the live. Somebody says, welcome, Damian. Guys, share up the live. Remember, as well, we have our big discussion coming up with a little later on with Mr. Alwyn Babb is coming up. Somebody says, welcome and good to have you, Damian, here with us on the Marcia Weekes Show.
How about now, Marcia? Can you hear me now?
I think it's better. Better.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now, I saw you wrote something on Facebook today, and somebody sent it to me, and it resonated with me very well. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask you to summarize what it is that you wrote on Facebook and why you wrote it on Facebook.
Well, let me give you the backdrop of what inspired me to post on Facebook this morning. The Young Democrats would have posted a video. They would have posted a video on their social media sites. It's encouraging individuals to get involved. I guess in the sense it involved them putting together this recruitment drive, or basically it was something along the lines of seats are moving. That seems to be the topic in regards to what it is that they were trying to put forward. Now, what I thought, it was a very good production. There was a minivan involved, and it's some young people just gathering and jumping onto the van. There was revelry, and they were chanting "Seats are moving." I took it as a political message, as in that, get on board. We are going to do something positive. And it was received with some backlash this morning. There were some individuals, I'm not going to call their names, or I'm not even going to really give them any credence on your show tonight. There were some individuals who felt that the timing was ill and that it glorified the van culture of Barbados. And I didn't see it that way. I felt that these are young individuals who came together, put together their resources, their creative thinking. They pulled together their camaraderie to come and put forward this production. And in the same sense as them being involved in a political organization, it was their way of showing that we are involved in the Barbadian political process. And the backlash rubbed me the wrong way. So I posted on Facebook. It was a pretty lengthy post where I asked myself, well, if the timing is ill, when is it a good time for young people to put out something positive, something that they would have pulled their resources, maybe their monies, they would have got a production, they would have put their creative juices together and put this and post this for people to see? When is the right time for people to put a positive message out? Because from what I understand, the video itself was long in planning before this particular accident. Because let me track back a little bit. There was an accident that happened recently where some Leicester Vaughan students were on a van going to school, and apparently it went off road. The driver and the conductor, like, they were engaging in what we would call shakes and bakes, where they basically get the van and tilt it on two wheels, right? So it's basically like rocking. We call it rocking the cradle back in my time, but now it's shakes and bakes, right? So you're basically rocking the cradle, and it's a very dangerous maneuver. The more skilled drivers used to do it back in my time, but it's something that can end badly because the vehicle itself can tip on the side, and those inside the vehicle would be injured. So the timing itself, from some person's I guess perspective, was ill-timed. And I told myself, no, this is not the way that we should be criticizing these young people, telling them that they seem to be out of touch, or that they could have thought or had more forethought before they post the video glorifying the van culture. My thing is that we need to embrace our young people. We need to get them into creative spaces where they can express themselves, because these are individuals that they could have been any place else other than making that video. They could have been on the blocks. They could have been in a vehicle looking to go and rob people. They could have been engaging in legal drugs. They could have been doing anything other than something that is positive. So for me, I felt that this criticism was unfair. It was unfair because we have two different perspectives here. The two incidents themselves, or let's say the accident itself, and this particular video that the young Democrats have put on, there's no nexus between the two. There's no nexus. So where is the link for you to criticize it and link it to the van culture? Because on one hand, there were adults that took some young personal minds into a van, took them off-road, was engaged in reckless driving, which is against the Road Traffic Act, and then an accident happened. On the other hand, there are
and allegedly offered them whiskey early in the morning too.
Allegedly, yeah, they were offered some alcohol, right? So I'm hoping that there are investigations going on into that to see if whether that was true or not. And on the other hand, no, we have the young Democrats putting on a production that, in a sense, it does highlight the van culture, but I want people to understand that the van culture in Barbados isn't always negative. The van culture in Barbados is actually a part of our economy, because when you talk about the bus crawls and the party buses, those are part of our economy. And to me, they were just highlighting the party bus culture, not the van culture where young children get onto these vans and they get shakes and bakes and go off roads or anything like that. The van culture, in a sense, where it branches off into the party bus or bus crawl culture, is adults come in, renting a van, There's playing music and they're enjoying themselves. So I don't see the nexus for the criticism. And I try to highlight in my post that we need to, as individuals, to really think before we criticize. Because then if there's no nexus to your criticism, if there's no foundation in your criticism, then it's political. It's political. And then when you want to tear down some young people because you don't support a particular organization or political organization, then that is where I have the problem with you. And the problem is not with them for putting on the production. The problem is with you because you can't find the positive in the production itself. So then if you cannot separate your political bias from where you could separate, I guess you don't support a particular party, but you could still criticize this party even though these young people are a part of the party that you do not support, and you cannot find the good in where that they are actually trying to recruit people to their cause or bring awareness to the political processes in Barbados or any political movement, then the problem is with you. Its problem is not with the youth of that particular political arm or with the message that they're trying to put out. And it triggered me because I myself, as a young person back in the day, it seems like for me, I could not do anything right around the adults that were in my orbit or in my space. And for a very long time, I was a very, very angry young man. So I could understand why we would have youth who would see that no matter what they do, they can't seem to get it right. And the one individual who might find them, I said, well, listen, you could do this particular thing right for me and you could get paid for it. Might be someone who might weaponize them and put a gun in their hand to go and terrorize the society. So to put a long story short, we need to embrace our youth in whatever creative avenues that they find themselves in, and rather than criticize because you might support another political party or you might tell yourself that you do not like this particular political party, embrace the youth. Tell them that they may not be a part of your political organization, but at least they're a part of something that is positive, other than them going around and engaging in illegal activity.
Yeah, I'm sitting and I'm listening to you because I found it very interesting today, Damien and viewers, that because when people even with me, I try to look at the criticism and to see what you can learn from it. I actually do. And I was thinking about what was being said, and I started to think about, as an artist, that art really, I just did a production. I'm way older than you are, and I just did a production called Speak Life. And in that production, I created a little band scene because one of the students in the production, the characters they were retelling their experience on the bus going to school. And they got to class late and they were telling them. And so we created such a comedic segment where the bus throw them this way and that way and whatever. Now, was I promoting a bad, was I a bad behavior on the bus? No, what I'm doing, I'm an artist, and in order for what I'm presenting on stage, Damien and viewers, in order for it to be real, right? In order for it to be real, I needed then to mirror the van culture that exists. It doesn't mean that I endorse it, because I sat today and I'm looking and thinking, and the scene is, I still have it. And the kids are falling down and they think, and then they burst out singing, I want my mother. You remember how that was when the guy, he was our fan.
Yeah.
And we introduced that because it's culture. Now, does it mean we endorse it? we have, and this is a part of art that I would love for us to have a discussion about, because we have Eric Lewis, for example, who wears women's clothing
Mm-hmm.
to convey his art.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going around saying he's a transvestite, or that he's gay, or that he is whatever, not that, I mean, that would have been his choice, but we do not automatically think because this man wears lipstick and carries a handbag on stage and wears a dress means that he is a transvestite. We understand that he is using this means to get a point out. And the last thing I say before I give you back, because I want to hear from you, but I think as an artist, I wanted to say this as well, that it's a line that is there that we need to understand. The art, we enjoy the art when it is real. If they had a minivan and they did not have what they did have, the conductor, they had the character of the conductor, they have the character of the man who fills the van, they have them, although the bus was not moving and they were dancing and hitting the bus. That's how young people behave in the bus. They are mirroring what they saw. It's not an endorsement. And I think that we have to understand that, about art. We watch a movie with Denzel Washington and a gun and he's running and shooting people. Does that mean that he is a murderer? Come
No.
on, folks. Or that he's endorsing a murder. And I think, and I think my very last thing, because you can tell I'm passionate about this one.
Yeah.
My very last thing is that I showed this video to some 24-year-olds and those under 30, and not one of them saw anything wrong. In fact, they thought it was well done, well shot, well acted.
Mm-hmm.
That was what they said. And I wanted to do that because I want us as adults a lot of times to have this conversation with our children. And it could mean that they don't have a problem with having a little fun on the van.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
they have grown up in the van culture. Some of you have not grown up into that. They grew up in that, and we need to be able to examine what is that and be able to put up the guardrails so we know what is safe and what is not safe. Because as you have said, there is a van culture. We now, as adults and policymakers and lawmakers, need to put the guardrails concerning this van culture. But back to you, Mr. Panos.
Well, this is my thing about the art, the difference between art and reality, because obviously art imitates reality. You want to give it the realistic feel and the realistic look when you are telling a story.
Yes.
But we as adults, we as parents, we as individuals, we as mentors, we as teachers, we have to help other young people to, in a sense, discern what is appropriate behavior from what is not appropriate behavior. You obviously would have a conversation with your young people when they see art that is being put forward to them and tell them, well, listen, this may happen in real life, but this is not something that you would want to do. You understand me? And from what I understand, in the accident with the van, when the driver was actually shaking the van, there were some children that were telling him to stop. So that means that there were some good level-headed minds on that van that was saying, listen, this is wrong. This is dangerous and this is reckless. I don't want to be engaging in this type of behavior because of what could be the possible repercussions. So then what does that lead the artist to do then? Is the artist supposed to then dumb down his expression because he's afraid, or she should be afraid of how his message might be conveyed, because it might, in a sense, then, I guess, impact others to engage in I guess, van culture or bad behavior? No, because then you then are not being authentic to your true craft. You're not being authentic to what it is that you want to convey in the message or the art itself. But at the same sense, you also want to have a conversation of the things that are happening around you and in Barbados as a society. There are things that happen in regards to violence, things that I guess we could bring up divine culture again. Um, the lyrics and music that highlight sexual promiscuity and misogyny and violence. You might listen to that music for entertainment, but you're not going to go out and shoot 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people because a song told you to if somebody mashes your corns. So obviously there is that separation between the art and reality itself. There has to be that separation, and we have to have that conversation as artists to let people know that yes, this is our craft, but we are putting on a play, a display. This is not for something to encourage individuals to engage in. This is just something that is part of our creative expression. And at the same time, parents, teachers, mentors, have a conversation with your charges, the children under your care,
Mhm.
because the artist can't do it for you. The artist is going to fill that space in entertainment that needs to be filled, and that is how they make their bread and butter. But you, as the responsible adult, has to have that conversation and tell children, well, listen, or young adults or young people, this is not the way. Though it like look like fun, and though it might look like, because I had my days of shakes and bakes too, rocking the cradle and stuff like that. Would I go and tell my son to go and live life and enjoy that because I had it? No, because what if there was a time that I had actually gotten onto a van and it had actually turned over and I had lost my life, or we had actually a mass casualty incident, because you might have got away with it doesn't mean that other people might get away with it. So
Yeah.
you have that conversation with your charges and your mentees, and let them know that this is just art. This is an expression of art. And while it's being expressed, it is just to entertain, or it's just to send a message, or it's a rallying cry to get people to come and join a cause. It is not something that is supposed to be imitated in real life.
Mhm.
So for me, so for me, we cannot hamstring artists because we are afraid of what the message that they are portraying. In the sense, there are times that maybe we could at least tone down the lyrics in songs, maybe we could tone down the violence in movies, but then still there are individuals who want that type of entertainment, and the individual that wants that type of entertainment might not actually engage in the behaviors that they see in the media or on television or in the theater or wherever they get their music and entertainment from. So that is how I feel about it in regards to the creative process. But the artist cannot be in a sense hamstrung because we want to criticize each and every single thing for the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the more I think about it, I think I've since I've been here, I would have gone and watched Mad. Mad has put on all of those productions. Isn't wasn't he part of Mad? Eric Lewis did. Am I? Let me just see. Didn't they put on the stuff with the somebody can correct me on this. Mad comedian, and they were putting on, yes, a show every year, and they did a ZR Van skit.
Hmm.
Right. I remember that, because I love theater. I remember that. And
Hmm.
the point is this, that I think that we have to just be, as adults, if I say to somebody, if I'm teaching theater,
Hmm.
and I say to them, okay, now you are going to, the scene is that you're robbing a bank.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
you're robbing a bank. I don't expect for you not to get into character and rob the bank. You're going to do it because that is the character you're playing.
Hmm.
Does it mean that I am endorsing bank robbery, or that the person who went and said stick it up, right? That's quite corny. Is endorsing bank robbery? No, they're playing a role.
Hmm.
They are playing a role. And you could go back over the years and look at all of the things. I mean, the whole thing about seats and moving, it's a Barbadian um uh colloquial expression, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Barbadian parlance, seats and moving. Look at Mad them there. Look at that, and him and the school girl and all of that, and her hair is long when she's not supposed to wear her hair like that. And so they forget these things. But thank God for the internet. They're there, Eric Lewis and everybody else. Come on, guys. And then sometimes we have the girls wearing all the powder on the. It's acting. And for the acting to be great, the acting needs to be as real as possible. That's when we applaud it. That's when we give you awards for it, right?
For me, right, what really probably has me really disappointed with the outrage itself and where it was coming from and the individuals who were criticizing the video is that Mad themselves were subject to such criticisms. Can you remember? I'm not sure if anyone remembers. Anybody remember that song that they had done in a church where the pastor, it was a calypso song in church. Bend down, touch your toes, pooch back, and let your bumsy roll. That,
It's true.
and I guess I'm giving away my age here right now, but really and truly, that song had caused so much controversy within the Christian community because it was seen as disrespecting the church and disrespecting the religious, I guess, the religious foundations of Barbados. And we had to have a serious conversation of where do we find the balance between creative expression and I guess the
Mhm.
disrespect of our social foundations. And it when I saw the criticism for just the young Democrats video, I tell myself that we in society seem to engage in political hypocrisy. We tend to want to forget easily and criticize those things, even though that we would have lived those experience of being criticized ourselves. But then it seems like we just, when we get to a certain, I guess, a certain level in life, we forget where we came from and what we would have experienced and what we would have gone through in terms of how people would try to stifle our voice and our creative expression. When I heard the song, when I heard that song when I was young, I, for myself, being raised in a Christian home, I thought it was disrespectful. But then as I got older and I realized that, people have a voice to express how they feel and to express how their art should come across to those individuals they want to get it towards. And I believe that, and I believe then that, you know, even though it might rub some people the wrong way, you can't rob the creatives of their voice. Even if you think that it's disrespectful, they have the right to express themselves. So then when I heard when I saw what was going on this morning, I cast my mind back to, if you think that this video, the one that the young Democrats did, is casting sending the wrong message, then where were you when the prime minister was photographed or videoed with individuals of questionable character, invited them to parliament? Because it seems as if certain people have this political currency that they can do what they feel like and they're barely criticized. But anything the Young Democrats or the DLP party itself does has to be shot down, has to be burned to the stake. And that is wrong. Because if you're going to criticize young people who are part of a political institution because you don't like the institution, then you are the problem. It is the reason why our young people might feel that they cannot come to adults when they have their problems. And that in itself, now you erase the safe space for the individuals or the young people, the young individuals to come to the adults that they should come to when they're being abused or when they're being neglected or when they're hungry. And for me, before I became an attorney at law, I was a teacher. My live experience as a young man growing up, people telling me that I'm not good enough. I wanted to do something. I wanted to give back. I wanted to show that I am something in that sense. And I wanted to be a guiding light for the young people in Barbados. So I got into teaching. And where I was at, I came across some young individuals who had it very, very, very hard. They didn't even have lunch. Some days they came to school without lunch. So my school bill at the end of the day, my school bill, or not even at the end of the day, at the end of the month, we had this pay system where you would order your lunch and then you pay at the canteen at the end of the month. And my food bill had to be the highest because I was buying food for students who did not have lunch, to come during the day at school. And I told myself that really and truly, if this is what the young people are experiencing at 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, what would happen if I was not there, or if there are not individuals who are there that would stand in the gap for them, as the political leader says, who's going to stand in the gap for our youth? Because there are too much of us who are quick to criticize and not willing to stand in the gap because we have our political leanings, and we don't care about the other side. We don't care if the young people on that side got something to eat. We can criticize them and we can leave them in the lurch. So it honestly pissed me off this morning, to tell the truth.
Yes, yeah, and I really respect you. When I read what you wrote, um, and having talked to the 24-year-olds who watched it, I realized that there's such a big divide, and some things I will understand well because Damien, that's where I work. I'm always among young people, and so I understand that, and I understand there is a difference between reality and there's a difference between an act. So right now these are professional guys. I mean, Dale was actually at the scene there at Lester Vaughan when the whole thing occurred, and he on that day, Dale acted so well. I mean, looking at the video, I mean, I didn't know Dale could act that well, you know. And actually, the little girl there that's running, she's actually from Praise Academy. That's running there, and she told me she was involved in it, and I asked her how it was. She said, "But I'm a BLP, and they put me on the DLP bus." I'm gonna have to tell my mother. It was kind of funny, But it's an act, and one of the things that it said there, that we must give them. It says to be continued. We don't know what is coming next. Damien. We don't know. It is a story, and for me as a storyteller, I'm like perked up. To be continued. What are they going to come with next? And so I think. I really love the way you are putting it across, because we're hearing it from a young man who was angry because when he tried to express himself, people would push you back into your shell, and it made you an angry person. And when I read your comment about it, I felt the emotion of what you were saying, not anger, but I felt some pain coming through, and it made me actually stop. I had a conversation with my son today because I wanted to know, is there something that I am missing from this? Because we do this is what we do at Praise Academy all the time. We mimic life, real life.
I would tell you, Marcia, that where that pain came from, it came from me, I guess, in my early school years, where for myself, it's only now that in retrospect I felt that I was the problem. But really and truly, it was the individuals around me who were 3 and I guess 4 times my age who were the problem, who felt that, who saw me and probably just wrote me off because maybe of 1 or 2 incidents at school. Not that I was anyone that was violent, because I never assaulted a teacher, never assaulted students, never robbed the students, was never caught with drugs, was never sent to the government industrial school. May have been suspended a couple times because they might have gotten into trouble, because obviously we are young people, and boys tend to be more, I guess, aggressive with the way that they portray themselves in society, you know, and I will admit I was disrespectful, but that to teachers in the sense, but I was disrespectful because I felt I was disrespected. Because my nickname at school when I was going to school was Ignorant Fanas. And that wasn't a nickname that was given to me by my peers or the students in my class or my friends. That was given to me by teachers. That was given to me by teachers, and I overheard it walking by the staff room a day. So look at Ignorant Fanas there. And that hurt me. It hurt me because I said, okay, I could see where this is going. And what compounded my anger even more is because I could see that the writing was on the wall that I was not one that they wanted to retain at school. Originally, there was a group of us that was put in it that when we had actually when they stopped us down, they put us in a class called 4 Remove and 4 Form. The name of the class was 4 Remove. So somebody in their thinking said, well, we can't send home the report cards with the classroom name 4 Remove. So they changed it to 4 Return. A teacher admitted this to us. The name of the class was 4 Remove, but we changed it to 4 Return because of the optics. So that was the kick-out class. And I told myself, well, listen, this is Last Chance Saloon. I was guilty by association because my friends were not the best character, but I wasn't someone that I was popular because it was funny. I was popular because I was an athlete. And those individuals who were, I guess, were the trouble trees at school were the sportsmen. They were the athletes. They were the footballers. And they hang with them because I played football and I was an athlete with them. So I was guilty by association. And I told myself, well, listen, I always had plans to get my CXCs. I wanted to go UB at a very young age. I knew what I wanted to do. So I buckled down that year and I went to the classes that I knew what I was good at. And I passed 3 subjects in my final year for promotion of that year. So should have been recommended for 3 CXCs. In fact, I was recommended for 3 CXCs. But when my report card had came home, it said not promoted to 5th form, but superannuated. And I was like, what does superannuated mean? I don't know what that means. So when I called my aunt, who she was the big brain in the family at that time, and she told me, Damien, they kicked you out. So
Wow.
someone in their wisdom felt that it was better to have a Damien Fanis with no CXCs rather than a Damien Fanis with 3 CXCs, maybe at a grade 3. And
Wow.
then
So they kick you out completely out of the school.
completely out of school, and that was on the backdrop of individuals telling me that you will not be anything in life. You will never represent this school at football. You will never represent this school in athletics. You will destroy the Barbados Defense Force sports program. Funny enough, the Barbados Defense Force sports program came up to the school at the time, and they had put on like a showcase. Just know this is your options when you come out of school if you're into sports. And when I had told a certain senior individual at the school, I'm not going to say who it is exactly, that I wanted to join the Defense Force sports program, he told me straight to my face, and I am not making this up. To do what, Fanis? To crumble this country's only last line of defense.
What?
So
when you heard that, what tell me, you were 15 then?
I was about 15 then, yeah. 15 then,
Wow.
probably turning 16 because I was kicked out at 16.
And you heard him, you stood in front of him and
He
heard
was
him say
he was
that.
probably about 3 feet from my face when he told me that. 3 feet from my face when he told me that. And I told myself that, okay, well, you definitely cannot win here. And I will say something
You
to
definitely cannot. What you said, you definitely
cannot,
what?
I cannot win. I cannot win in this
Oh.
environment. I can't win in this environment here. This environment is not designed for me to be successful. So and I will say this to the people who are watching and who have children, and I will tell you why I'm probably where I am today. I have a strong faith in God, and because I was born in a Christian household, I pray, I read my Bible, and I had a praying mother, I had a praying grandmother. I had a family that loved me, that always believed in me, and always used to tell me, Damon, you are an intelligent boy,
Oh,
and you can
wow.
be whatever you want to be.
Even when you only had the 3 CXCs, your grandmother was telling you that.
I didn't have the 3CXCs then. I didn't have them. I was recommended for them, but I was still kicked out. And even then, when I didn't have anything at all, just my birth certificate, 16 years old, my grandmother told me that, or my mother would tell me, Damon, you can be whatever you want to be in life. And then, and during that period between being 16 and 20 was hard. There were nights that I would cry because I had goals, I had dreams, and I knew that I couldn't. What was my best? What was my next bet? If I didn't get the CXCs in secondary school, where am I going to get them? You know, I wanted to be an athlete. Nobody's going to send me on scholarship without any CXCs. And then at that point in time, my mother had lost her job, and my brother was still going to school. And someone told me, go and join a track club if you want to, just join a track club and keep the sport going, just keep yourself out of trouble. And I love where it was at Freedom Striders, or when Bob would tell you that I came in as a young, under 17, under 20 boy, and I just wanted to run. I just wanted to get a scholarship. But during that time, my mother wasn't working, so I was the one who actually got a job. So during that time, I was paying the bills and sending my brother to school, and then training, and then still trying, and then enrolled at the O-level institute to try and get CXCs to see if I could get this scholarship. So, it was hard. It was hard because I trying to work, trying to study, trying to train, trying to pay bills, trying to support your brother, because I love my little brother. My little brother, is nothing. He is my rock.
Wow. And remind us of how old you were when you were at the O-level institute. You are working, you are helping your family, you're studying. How old you were doing all of
18,
this?
around 18.
18. And you were working,
Yeah.
studying,
Studying.
and taking care of your little brother.
And just trying to see if I can make a dream work. And then
work.
And
what was the dream?
The dream was to get a scholarship and run overseas, get to a Division 1 school, or even maybe a Division 2 school. That was the dream, but it was tough, and there wasn't anybody really I could lean on to talk to about it. Because for me, I was so angry. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want to tell anyone who was going through, because I already had that distrust of adults. There were adults around me that were cool, but then still I really didn't trust them, because at the end of the day, I told myself, well, it just takes one instance for them to just rub you the wrong way. And so I basically just shut down within myself and did what I had to do. But it was basically impossible. It was basically impossible until a friend of mine came back around again and reminded me of the Barbados Defense Force Sports Program. And I was like, oh yeah, wait, this was a thing, And me and him recruited together. He didn't finish, because I guess, it was difficult, because we recruited like we were soldiers. We were beasts like we were soldiers. That's when you I guess punish corporal punishment with physical activity, push-ups, knuckle push-ups on gravel, no sleep. And then you still had to go and do your military law, and learn how to do map and compass to come and play a sport in the Barbados Defense Force Sports Program. But the whole point was to get us malleable enough to be disciplined, that when they give us orders, we would obey.
Yeah.
And it was hard, and at one point it was too hard, because there was one particular corporal when I was recruiting. He singled me out, and it was like, oh boy, here we go again, you know what I mean? And I packed up my bag, and I went straight off of the Bark Square. Well, basically I just told him, you know what, just F off. I done with this. And I went straight to my commanding officer, the Lieutenant Darlington. Lieutenant Darlington, wherever you are, thank you very much. I went straight to Lieutenant Darlington, tell Darlington I'm done. I am not doing this anymore because the man downstairs is an idiot. And he looked at me, he sat me down, he told me, listen, I want to ask you a question. How much did you spend to get in here, right? And when I totaled how much my total spend with dental and getting stuff together and so on, it was roughly about $700 just to get in to recruit at the Barbados Defense Force Sports Program. And then he looked at me again, he asked me, I bet you that was your mother money though. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And he was like, finish the program for your mother because she believed in you to take. She lost $700 and gave it to you. At least do that for me, you know? And I said, okay, all right. And that's the first time I actually understood the gravity of my actions because I had other people depending on me. I didn't even realize that people were really dependent on me because, you know, when I was working and supporting my brother, supporting the household, I didn't consider it that. I consider it as, you know, this is what you were supposed to do, you know, but I didn't understand that there were people who wanted you to succeed and they were depending on you. So, you know, I went back, me and the man didn't agree, you know, and eventually he got transferred out. And within the first 4 weeks, it was hard. But then at the last 2 weeks of recruiting, because it was 6 weeks and all, it got easier and easier and easier. And then I graduated recruiting, second runner-up, the best recruit. I still have the trophy and I still have the trophy somewhere, right? Second runner-up, the best recruit. I missed out on best recruit because my fitness tests, my times for the long run was not as good as the distance runner. And he too was kind of intelligent as well because they take your scores from your tests and your scores from your physical exam.
Yes.
I had the scores in the tests, but really and truly it was the physical exam that was going to put you over for best recruit. So I got second runner up, you know, and that's the first time I actually ever accomplished something, and I felt so good. I felt good because I told myself, well, listen, Damien, I mean, you're not a failure, you know, you could do this thing. You could do this thing. And that's what inspired me to see if I could get my CXCs. Like, you know, I wanted them, but I didn't know if I could do at the age that I was at. I mean, like, could I do it? Could I go back to school and compete with these young individuals who got fresh, bright minds? I left school must be about 4 or 5 years ago. I tried to go to school at O level, but that wasn't, I mean, I couldn't do it with the work schedule and the training schedule that I had, you know, so got my first CXC in there, English at 2. Then the 3 others followed, IT, social studies at a 1, biology at a 3. And then the scholarship to BCC was made available to me through the Barbados Defense Force Sports Program. They told me, you know what? You seem like the individual we should send on this scholarship. You want to do it?
So, Damien, what age did you get the scholarship?
I got the scholarship probably, I think I started BCC in 2006. I probably could have been about maybe 24, 25 at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe. Old. I mean, like old.
You didn't give up at 24, 25. You're going to BCC.
Based to BCC. And I think I got that associate degree probably around 27, 28, because it was a 2.5 year program or something like that there. And you know, and then I went into teaching. I went into teaching because I wanted to be involved in sports. And I also wanted to be somebody that was there for young people because of what I had experienced. Because through the Defense Force Sports Program, we gave back to so many schools. We gave back to so many primary schools, nursery schools. Whenever they wanted officials for their sports, they would ask for the Defense Force Sports Program pioneers, and we would go. So then BCC transitioned after UE. BCC transitioned into me teaching. And then me being there and seeing what our children was going through, I wanted to affect policy. So then I went back. So I went to UE. I applied to UE. And naturally I told myself I wanted to be the Minister of Education at some point. So I went to
Yes.
study. Yeah, I had big dreams.
Yeah.
I had big dreams. I told myself, I can spend 10 years in teaching, then I get my degree, and then transition out, join the party, and then become the minister of education. I had so
You're
much
serious.
I had so much magical thinking. So then when I thinking that I had the associate degree, that I'm a PE teacher, I only applied for the bachelor's in education. They usually give you a first and a second choice. I didn't even put down a second choice. I just put bachelor's in education and sent it in. So then when my acceptance letter came back, it said a BA in psychology, and I was like, somebody goof. You know, I mean, I didn't apply for no psychology. You understand me? And let me show you the grace of God, right? How God works. I did not put in a second choice. I called the school. I called UA and I asked them, the School of Education. I didn't apply for this. How you somebody make an error here? I wanted to do education, and then it seems like they were waiting for my call because they knew exactly what to tell me. They were like, "Oh, Mr. Finance, you're not a trained teacher because at that time you had to go Erdison to get your certification." I did my Erdison. Says you're not a trained teacher, so this is her exact word. So we just juke you in psychology. You could do a minor in education. It's like, you juke me in psychology? He's like, yeah, we juke you in psychology because you know that you could probably still study the educational tracks in psychology. You got enough electives that you could pick any education course you want from first, second to third year. And you could probably even get a minor if you want. But my psychology was a special. So we wasn't getting any minor, but I filled it with as much education courses as possible. And when I tell you, I was so proud to smell you here because I told myself I cannot believe that I'm here. From no CXCs to studying, I worked so hard. There were days I was at UB for like 16-hour days. I would catch the first shuttle from 7:30 and catch the last shuttle at 10 o'clock. I would be in the library on Sundays, Saturdays, because I wanted first class honors, because I said, you know what, I don't have no money for no masters. I want my master's free, and I want to be attractive so that when I become the minister of education, I have what it takes to be say, yeah, he will make a good minister of education. And I got my first class honors.
Wow, you said that, so you got your first class honors.
Yeah.
After getting your 3 CXC, your 4 CXCs at about 24, or thereabout. And going into BCC, and then get into UE, and you got a first class honors.
And I thought it was done. I just told myself, you know what, MPhil, PhD, go that route, and you can be the minister of education. But at that time, I took a break for 2 years. And then my goals had changed. My goals changed because what people don't know is that actually I'm one of the founding members of one of the third parties in Barbados, the Barbados Integrity Movement.
Really?
And yeah. I was on the executive as the secretary, and Granville Phillips at the time, Granville Phillips the third, he spoke to me. He told me, Damien, I could see you being more than a minister of education. Go and study law. And I was like, you know what? I'll go back and I'll study law. And I went back and I studied law. Got that back at honors, not first, because law is a different beast. Got it back at honors.
So what age did you go to study law?
So where was that? Let me see, 2016. Let me see, that's about 9 years ago. About 35, maybe 35,
Wow.
34.
Well, you look so young. But my goodness, this is such an amazing story. And you studied, and you got you graduated with honors from law school.
Twice. Graduated with honors twice. And I tell people I don't really see myself as an attorney. I see myself as maybe a social scientist. I like the psychology of the law. I amalgamated the psychology with the law. So
the psychology that you didn't want to do.
Yeah, the psychology I did not want to do. God is a very, very hilarious individual because he will give you things that you don't want and make you excel in it. And then to be honest, when I was doing law, I was asking myself, this is a mistake. I was telling myself, damn, you really want to do this? This is a big mistake, I mean, like, this ain't like psychology. This is because these psychology principles, they're so you can approach it from any angle, but law can be so rigid unless you come with a novel principle that changes the precedent or changes the legal principle itself. Then I could not freelance and came with my own theories or how to counteract the law, how to argue the law. In the marking schemes that the lecturers had, they knew what they were looking for, and if you didn't have what they had on paper, you were getting marked down. So, and I told myself, well, this is not like psychology at all. I'm not having any fun in this period. But, you start, you finish, try to finish, and here I am today.
Wow. I'm listening to you, and this is what I didn't know all of this story. I'm saying it like a story. This is your reality. And but I felt it as somebody who is a writer. As I read it, I actually read it twice, and I felt the emotion coming through, and I'm so happy that we were able to talk tonight, because I think when you saw what was happening to the young people online, I could see why you got so moved.
Triggered,
that you were driven, that you had to write something. And oh my goodness, we went way over time.
It's my apologies, my bad. I am very, very sorry, viewers. I'm very sorry to the person who's probably coming after me. I am so sorry.
Guess what? The person who's coming after me sent me a message, and they have a family emergency. They sent me the message at 8:30, just before 8:30, when they were supposed to be on, and I don't want to say everything, but they had a family emergency. We have a caller on the line. Let me just welcome this caller. Can you call me back and let me try to accept it from the computer? Caller, oh, you know what? Let's try it from here. I think it's going to work. Guys, you can call in, and Mr. Fanos is here with us. This is not how we plan to do the show, but this is just, we're just gonna flow. We're gonna flow, and we're gonna see how it works. Okay, we're gonna see how it works. Just hang on there, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. Go right ahead.
Yes, good night, Sir Fanos. I must say, after the calling, I would have done myself an injustice. For those out there who understand what the word palm, or the term palmam cri for that means, they would get. Can you hear me, or you can't hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear, caller.
Right. In summary, all I would tell Fanos is that congrats in his determination, and my story is similar to his, because I left school and I wasn't the front child in terms of the outrunner getting the highest grades. I mean, I wasn't the worst, but I wasn't the best at that time. But I excel immensely when in tertiary. So I'm doing both undergrad and masters too. So I am saying that to say, Fanos' story, it also inspires me, and it would inspire a lot of other young people out there too. And that Barbados can speak 99 times about education transformation. But what I think they're forgetting, or pretend to forget, well, you can't really pretend to forget when you really can't relate, is that because the era-specific poverty that's in Barbados right now, the strategy to deal with education has to be one where it meets the needs of people first. Then you can meet the mental need as well. Because as Fanos would know, even from back then, poverty was a real thing. Mm-hmm. But post-COVID, poverty has expanded drastically in Barbados, and you go constituency by constituency, and it cannot be denied. So where I'm going with this is that listening to what Fanos is saying, it is telling me that the whole political arena is really not in touch with the reality on the ground of the people. And I'm not even talking about specific things like water and housing and the inability to feed children as they would not only feed children but feed themselves, because I know that there are some parents that don't even feed themselves properly and make sure that children can eat. And there's another story for another day. But education cannot function properly when poverty is at the way it is right now, because poverty has literally taken over Barbados, and anybody that can't see that is within the gravy train. You see, and I believe that maybe it could be let's say maybe between 2 to 5% or less that can say of themselves that they are wealthy, and 75 to probably 80% are actually truthfully in the poverty and below the poverty line, right?
Yes. Well, caller, I mean, are you there? Oh boy, we have another call coming in. That is, but caller, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just let me get this other call. Caller, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes. Can you speak up a little for me, please?
Yeah, I'm on the road. It's the first time I'm calling your show.
Yes.
But I think that I'm listening. And last night it was tremendously impressive. I don't want to say I need to join your march. Let's start happening. I don't want to just talk on the phone.
Yes.
I thought I would call you because I'm involved. My son joins the meeting all the time. I'm tremendously impressed.
You're impressed with the show. Well, thank you. And were you inspired by this story tonight of this young man?
I'm waiting for my sister. She's a nurse at hospital and trying to get home now to pick it up.
What?
Before you get in the house.
Yes. Wow.
So I'm tremendously impressed. She does really good job.
Thank you. And we want to thank Damien for being here as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling.
I have these people on the tour.
Yes.
Cousin, I want nothing more to do with him. Absolutely nothing more to do with him.
With who? With who are you talking about?
Michael Ashley.
Oh, you don't want anything else to do with Michael Ashley. Do you live in his constituency?
Yes.
You live in the constituency and you're that angry that you don't want anything else to do with Michael Ashley.
I spent it not far from him. All of my life. His mother and my mother nominate work for me, so I don't have to tell you anything more. And he never changed. I'm disappointed with him.
You're disappointed. A lot of people are disappointed with former Minister Lashley. I can tell you, I get the comments, and they send it to me. They're hurt, they're disappointed, they're let down by Minister Lashley. The thing is, I hope that you are not going to that you're not going to vote, huh?
Don't bring his name in St. Philip.
You don't want Mr. Lashley's name in St. Philip?
Tell them don't bring back his name in St. Philip. No, don't bring it back. Don't bring it back.
Wow.
He's killing.
Yeah, somebody says same here, bro. Not back up here. So he's gonna. My goodness, nobody likes Mr. Nobody wants Mr. Lashley. Nobody wants you. What's going on here, Michael Lashley? The people in the BLP are complaining. The people in BLP, they message me, and they're complaining. They're not happy, and DLP people not happy. So what is he going to do?
Mrs. Weeks, we are all over me. I'm going to tell you something. I was the chair. I was the vice chair. I'm a delegate.
Oh, you are the vice chair?
I took my chair. I do all the work. I never asked him for a thing. I just want to come and do. That's what he's coming and doing too. Don't even want his name called.
Wow.
We done with that.
Wow.
We finished with that.
You know what? I'm going to take your number. I'm going to keep your number. I would love to talk to a group of you of similar sentiment and really hear why it is you don't want to do anything, have anything else to do with Michael Lashley. I'm going to
call you. I'm going to call you.
Yes, call me, okay? Call me, please. Yes, call me. Thank you for calling, sir. We appreciate it. I'm going to reach out to you. Okay. Thank you, sir. You know, Damien, you're caught into all of that because we announced that we are going to talk about Minister Lashley and so on, and Sonia Brown, and I don't want to bring you in, people cascas, and because you know we go controversial on the show. I don't want to drag you into what you don't want to be involved, but let me just use the opportunity. I know people are going to call in to speak to you, but let me just say something to the viewers relating to that, without dragging you into things that if you, those of you who are not hearing clearly, that was a caller who is in the St. Philip North constituency, and he's complaining that all the help that he did, that he would have done on behalf of former Minister Michael Lashley, let's be clear, and that he's very disappointed, and they don't want to see him up there again. He can't run up there. Well, I think Sonia Brown will be very happy to hear that. Actually, Sonia Brown will be very happy to hear that. And before the night is up, we're going to play that. But I want to see if Damien, even if we have one more call for Damien, and then I'm going to say bye, Damien, so that we can take the gloves off. I don't want to have him on here when we think. But there was a caller. Oh, there's a caller calling, and let's see if this is for Damien. Yes. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. Is this call about Damien and the young people?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay,
Good
wonderful,
night.
wonderful.
Good night, Dave. Good night, loyal opposition. Good night. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, Damien. Mr. Damien, how are you? Good night. This story, you had a story of inspiration and a story of grit. You was determined. I have met, a few of your comrades. The president, Janine, and some other ones, and I find you guys to be outstanding. In reference to this video, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm disappointed in the adults. I'm disappointed in the community because this was young people doing something positive, getting involved, civically involved in government. And they missed the point of the video. The video wasn't about a bus. The video was about young people moving to Parliament. That is what the video was about. So those critics out there, ignore them. I'm trying not to, just go crazy. But I'm really disappointed. And another thing, we talk about supporting our youth. We talk about the government right now. The current government talks about doing something for the youth, but they also forgot something. This subvention issue with the DLP. I'm not a member of any party. I'm a member of Barbados. I'm a Barbadian. I'm not a member of any party, but I will help any youth. It doesn't matter what side they're on or who they choose to vote, for. Help them support because they are our future. This matter of subvention and other things, like when you choose to be, let's say you think you're hurting, whether you're hurting the DLP or you're hurting Mr. Thorne, it trickles down because this group had to do a lot to get up the funds to do this activity, to do this promotion, to have their youth weekend. So they had to do a lot to get themselves, to the point to get to this production done. And I don't think it's fair for anyone to believe that because you want to hurt a group of people, it trickles down. It trickles down to that they had no funds and had to get pledges, or they could have had a little bit of money and then still had to get other money from outside and donors. But it's not right, and no one sees it like that. No one sees it as this nonsense that's going on, that it trickles down to the youth. You don't like a constituency, you don't like a community because of the person who is actually representing that community, so the community doesn't get, because it's straight nonsense. No one sees that there alone trickles down and affects the youth. So you can't tell me you run around on stage, red shirt or any other shirt, and say that you're about the youth and you want, this transformation, branding and all this stuff, and you do things like that. It is very discouraging for the youth. I saw Mr. Damien's face when he's telling his story. I understand exactly what he's saying. When you're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to motivate yourself. Sometimes you got to be your own cheering section when no one else is cheering for you. You got to do it yourself. But he made it through. Thank God he made it through. Some other youths, I've heard brilliant stories from other youths. They've made it through. But this here, as adults and as people and as civil society, we got to stop this mess. We got to stop telling you, we want the youth to do something. And when they do it, there's a level of criticism. Now, those critics that are out there just firing up because you had a horrible weekend. You had a horrible weekend, so you had to find something to pick a bone about. It's not for the politics of it. Sometimes the young people, you got to keep your wives, your children out of it. These are young people. They're not even in any position. They're just trying to get there, and they already getting a bad taste of what this life is going to be like, and it's absolutely wrong. And I'm going to support anyone, whether it's Shaquani or Madam President or Damien. I'm going to support the youth making it their way to Parliament. To me, it doesn't matter what group you're part of. As long as you want to do something and uplift Barbados, I'm going to support that. And Damien, your story was outstanding.
Yeah. Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. And just before Damien responded, she said something, that when I spoke with my son about the video, he said, but it's about young people going to Parliament. In his mind, that's what it's about, Mom. Young people going to Parliament. And I think, boy, think about that. Think about that. To get a group of young people to be part of a process like that, Damien, in this day and age, to get up off their phone and to be part of a process that say we're going to Parliament. Isn't that something? We're talking about leadership. Oh my goodness, the calls are coming in, Damien. We'll do this. Good night, caller. I think you should turn down your device, but thank you for calling. Is this for Damien, about Damien, or is it about what's happening in Central Illinois?
This for Damien.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good night, Damien. I just want to say to you, I echo Michelle's sentiments as well. You all are doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work. Don't mind the talk that's empty. They have a saying, Damien, that empty vessels make the most noise. You understand? So don't worry about the empty vessels. People that sit on the sidelines and continue to pull down. In the words of the former VP of the United States, right? A strength of a man is measured by who you build up, not who you put down. Always remember that, Damien. And enough shout out and big up to Janine and all the crew, Shaquani. Young Democrats on the move. I like that video. You must do a part 2. Love it. Keep up the good work.
I know this voice.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling, caller. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Damien.
I was just saying I know the voice. I thought I was maybe Bascom, but I guess I don't know. Maybe if it is you, Bascom, show me later on tonight, man. Let me talk. I just want to say one last thing before we go, so that you could get into the controversy that I know that you want to get into, Marcia. I just want to say this to the youth. I've been there and I understand. I know how some of you feel. I probably know how most of you feel. I know that we are in a system, a world, Barbados, that fails 60% of you at secondary school. I was part of that 60%. And I want you to hold on to whatever dream that you had, because I just held on to me wanting to be an athlete. That is all I did. All I did is I held on to it. and I worked for it. And I want you to know that a government under Ralph Torn, we will come to your aid. We are going to give you the resources that you need to be successful. We are going to make sure that none of you are left behind, because I know what it feels like to be left behind. I know what it feels like to be trampled on. I know what it feels like to be told that you will not be succeed. You'll not be successful and you will not succeed. Ralph Torn picked me out one particular day and told me, listen, there is a place for you. Ainsley Granger told me there is a place for you. The Democratic Labour Party embraced me as a new member. So that shows you that, well, don't believe the rhetoric when they say that, Mr. Thorne, that you can't speak around Mr. Thorne and he stifles voices. When other people say that, remind them about Dr. Maria Aguiar or Dr. Crystal Haynes. Remind them, because those are two people who were ostracized by current administration. And Mr. Thorne is an embracer. He's an enabler. He's an empowerer. So don't mind the hype. We will help you. I will help you. And if I'm put in any position that I can help you, I will help you. I will take those lashes for you because I know what those lashes feel like. So I will say, hold on to your dream. We coming to help you. Seats and moving. Get on board. Seats and moving.
Wow, well said, and I must say and commend Mr. Thorne for giving that kind of environment for the young Dems to be able to feel empowered enough to produce something like that, to produce a video and really the energy that is in that video, really, and defying what the narrative, Damien, that there are no young people in the Democratic Party,
Well,
right?
the young
And
Democrats are alive and well. They're alive and well, and they're doing great things. And I'm very, very, very proud of them, and I'm very proud to be adjacent to them.
yes, yes, and being led by the Janine Butcher, we would loyal opposition. We would have supported Shakwani when she did an amazing job with the water. That was one of the highlights of her tenure. Was the water campaign, the water project in St. Lucie. And before that, I mean, through Verla de Pisa, the young Democrats, they were doing a water project to St. Lucie as well. So, they're always on the move, and here they have their big weekend, Damien, that is coming up November 7th, 8th, and 9th, and everybody is invited. I see here Adrian has a comment just before Damien goes, that said there should be a follow-up video with the same bus theme, seats and moving, ending up with the young people offloading at Parliament. And I can tell you, Adrian, if you notice, Adrian, it says that to be continued. And so there's a second part to this video that is going to happen. I had a talk with Janine this morning, Janine Butcher, who's the president of the Young Dems. And I know that there are plans ahead for there to be that other part of the video. And Adrian, you said, there should be, I want to tell you that they do need money to finish the other part. Can I tell your business out, Janine? She didn't tell me, and I didn't know, Damien, that we were going to do that tonight. She needs $3,000 to finish this video. Actually, it was supposed to be $5,000, and the guy told them today, if you got $3,000, we can finish it. One of the things the young people are talking about, I spoke with Don Leacock, he didn't come on tonight, but Don said, Marcia, I was impressed with this video, the quality of the video. He said this was professionally done.
Yep.
That's what he said. He said it was professionally done, and that was donated to them, and they can't go and asking people for no more, ask them to donate their time and their equipment anymore, and editing and all of that. So they now have to pay another 3,000 to complete the whole thing, do it for the whole song. It's just a few seconds, I think now, Dave, or a minute or so. But about a minute or so. But to complete the full seats and moving, they need about 3,000 Barbados, 1,500 US to complete it. And I think that is fair for the persons, because they donated their entire equipment, their time, and everything to the Young Dems. All right. And now to complete the video, they are asking for 3,000. So Adrian, and those of you in the loyal opposition, you want to help out the Young Dems to complete this project. Feel free to do that. If you call me 236-7000, I'll connect you to Janine, and she would be able to get it done. But Damien, I just want to, on behalf of these young people, that I feel for them. I want to say thank you for understanding. And those who are critiquing it, thanks for the critique as well. I think all criticism is fine. And, it's fine. And I'm sure the kind of people that they are in the Young Dems, they will take whatever is constructive about it. Oh, Everton Hunt is saying that they will give $100. Everton Hunt is giving $100. Everton, you have to message me again. My phone is messed up and I've lost some numbers. And I want to thank Mr. Thorne for providing that atmosphere that these young people would be comfortable enough to be planning an entire event, a weekend of events, and to be able to express themselves in this manner, mirroring what is in life, what life is like, and to be so good at what they did. Damien, thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you very much.
Yes, God bless you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Wow, that was amazing. That was amazing. That was tear-jerking at some time. A wonderful story being told there by Damien. Just amazing. I know it sounds redundant to say amazing, but I don't know what else to say. And somebody says that the Dems always attract brilliant and intelligent persons. And I had to ask myself, you saw me do that on the show when that young lady from the BLP was in the Senate from St. Lucia. I vowed I'm not going to criticize her. She's a young person going into Parliament. And when the other St. Lucian, I can't remember his name, when he went into Parliament, if you remember the show, yes, there were people saying, but he doesn't have the qualifications and so on. And my thing is, let's see what he does. And when he gave his first speech, I remember myself and Rose Corbin and others, they were saying, well, you know what? His speech was even better than Chad Blackman's speech, who was in, had been around this kind of thing for so many years and much older than this other young man, Reed. And so we haven't heard much of Reed, and, but I really try to encourage young people. I really do. And I want to believe that if this was a BLP production, that I would have encouraged young people and understood that they're being true to life, what they see, and it is not an endorsement of that culture. Yeah. All right. Now let's move on to some other issues. So let's talk about St. Philip South. Dave, if you can, North, if you could play a defiant Dr. Sonia Brown. And that's the thing, that's a fire about her that I believe that they can't manage. A defiance like this would not be able to stand up around a Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy, that Miss Piggy character, the Miss Piggy character, you say I'm talking about because of her size or anything. No, I'm not at all. It's the behavior. That kind of behavior, right? would not tolerate a Sonia Brown. That's my belief. I don't know the situation intimately, but Dave, if you could put it up, because let me tell you something. While Dave is going to look for Sonia Brown's comment to Starcom. Let me tell you something. She's not. If that is what they plan to do, listen to this woman today and tell me if you think she is going to go away into the wind without a fight. You listen to this woman. Go ahead.
Of Mr. Lashley yesterday at the annual conference. I was not aware that he would be attending, but up to now, I haven't heard that he has joined. I've just heard, like you in the newspapers and so on, that he attended the conference. But that is as much as I can give you. In terms of being, I haven't been really hinted at so far in terms of my Kalashi having an interest in St. Philip North, but the rumors are there. I have not spoken to Lashley myself, Mr. Lashley myself, and it has not come up in any formal setting in terms of my stepping over to give way to him. The truth is, I never be plain as I can here without being too ridiculous. My stance from birth till now is integrity. Truth is, my excitement has waned a little bit for some things that I'm seeing going on, but I don't wish to discuss all of that. My passion is still, of course, with the community. I still continue to work almost every day within the community. My constituency office opens every day except Fridays, and we are continuing, me and my team continuing to do work as usual. Nothing new has changed in terms of what my output for the constituency, in terms of helping constituents, in terms of community activities. In fact, we are planning something which will come off in November as we speak, and I have not veered from any plans that I have had. I, like everybody else, saw the entrance of Mr. Lashley yesterday.
Yes, and this was produced by Starcom Network. We have to give them that credit for that. And, you know, somebody put here, Sandra Charles, you will help the young Dems. Call me, please, 236-7000. Anybody wants to help the young Dems, give me a call, 1246-236-7000. Somebody says here, I want to put it up. Tanisha says, Marcia money talks. If ma'am want her out, she would be paid out. You know, that's one thing. I've watched this mighty woman here, short in stature, but she's a mighty woman, and she used the word integrity. And I just watching her, I got to warm up to her through Caswell Franklin, because I wasn't trusting anybody on that side. But the more I got to know Sonia Brown, Dr. Sonia Brown, I'm convinced that she's a person of integrity. I would be very surprised, if she's paid out. And no, that's not the kind of person that I know, that I, over the years, as I watch her, because I don't know her personally, to say we are personal friends, okay? But I've just watched her and read on her and even listened to her, how she's speaking. Listen and find out why she resigned from being the junior minister in the Ministry of Health. Find out why. You know, Tanisha, study her a little bit more, and you will see. And I think there are some others in there who would want to be able to stand up like a Sonia Brown, but just don't have the capacity, the integrity to do it. And she sounds like a person of integrity. I'll tell you about one story I know about Sonia Brown. Sonia Brown, not a minister of religion, and she can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I heard of a story that Sonia Brown refused to hold any political meeting at a bar. Do you know that normally both parties, they will hold political meetings at a shop that's attached to a bar or just at a shop, because people are already there. And it kind of makes sense. It's either you go to a shop, a bar, or a church, and the church is not going to let you go there, right? But Sonia Brown insisted that she would not hold a political meeting at a bar. Can anybody tell me, can anybody in the comment section tell me why do you think Sonia Brown decided she would never, she's not a pastor, and while others who were pastors in there and big Christians in there were, they did not stand their ground and were holding meetings at bars, not Sonia Brown. Can anybody, let me hear. I want the comment section to tell me why before I go to the callers. Okay, comment section. Let's stay on this a little bit. Why do you think Sonia Brown did not decide follow everybody else, even when she was being pressured? And this is my understanding of the story, and if I'm wrong, she can always correct me. And nobody's coming up with the answer. The answer is this. Sonia Brown is a medical doctor. And when the story was told to me, I got to understand that she had been talking to the people in our, remember, she's in our constituency, she lives in the constituency, her practice is in the constituency, and she, in her mind, she's thinking, how can I be holding my political meetings at a bar when I'm trying to get my constituents to stop drinking for health reasons? Why would I then, as a person of integrity, hold a meeting at a bar? Do you understand that kind of reasoning? Huh? You understand? She's a doctor. Drinking rum is unhealthy. I didn't see your comment. Who made the comment, Tyrone? Listen, Lewis, come to the front of the class. Drinking rum is unhealthy. And she's a medical doctor. And they could have talked all they want. The story that was told to me, she put her foot down and said, absolutely not. And you know what? She held, and I'm saying if the story is wrong, she could tell me, but I was told, reliably told, that she held a health fair instead. Can anybody in St. Philip North verify that, who went to her health fairs? She did health fairs instead of holding meetings at a bar. That kind of person, I don't know. She's like a rock of Gibraltar. They're going to have a problem moving her. Yeah? She would have a problem removing this. They're going to have a problem with her. If, we don't know, but if that is their intention, they're going to have trouble. They're going to have trouble in St. Philip North. Because some people would say, all right, it's just for a few little political meetings, hold a meeting at the bar. Based on my knowledge of the story, not this woman. Not this woman. This is a woman who took on, yes, she had a problem with her land tax, but she helped a whole lot of people, not just in her constituency, but the entire Barbados. You understand? And do you think it's easy to stand up against your colleagues? You could think it's easy. It's not easy. You saw what happened to my girl, Crystal Haynes. She took the ultimate. Yeah. So I want to say that they're gonna have a hard time. And when it comes on to integrity, based on the PAC report that was where Miss Motley was the chairperson of that PAC, she was calling for an investigation into Michael Lashley. Remember last night? Who remember that? Investigation into Michael Lashley and our criminal and civil civil proceedings be brought against Michael Lashley. So what kind of, if Miss Motley, if we're going to take Miss Motley as being truthful, if, and the operative word there is if the PAC report, the Public Accounts Committee report, which is a government records report, is correct, then there's an integrity issue then. There at least a perceived integrity issue with Michael Lashley, so they can't run her run him with Brown. How could they run him with Brown? I think that's what, it's my opinion, that's what she's trying to say. I'm a person of integrity. Where would you be going with him? That the leader of the BLP, when she was in the opposition, said there needs to be an investigation into Michael Lashley, criminal and or civil proceedings brought against him. How are you going to put chalk with cheese is what she's basically saying. You understand? That's what she's basically saying. How are you going to put chalk with cheese? I'm a person of integrity. And based on the Prime Minister, Mia Motley, she's basically saying this man has some integrity issues. We got to investigate him. And you know what? We could just bring everything, put the full law on him, and and if needs be, it should be with the criminal proceedings and the civil proceedings should be brought against him. That's what the Prime Minister is saying about this man that she is hugging up and endorsing and bringing into the party. That is why a lot of the senior people in the party are not happy tonight. Yeah, I get it. I get it in the phone. They're not happy. Yeah? Yeah? They're not happy. They're not happy with a person that is being it's been highly recommended by the PAC that Motley was the chairperson of, that their investigation be brought. Yeah. Somebody said, why those comments about Miss Brown? She's still a member of the party. Listen, I am not. You got to understand. I am about. I'm not about. DLP or all the and only the third parties and whatever. I am about strengthening opposition. This woman stood up and opposed. I'm about principle. She stood up. You have to give Jack her jacket. And this is not only that. When they were wanting to pass certain bills and so on, this woman would stand up and she would speak up or stay outside. She has been a voice of opposition. Yes, she has. And we need to not be partisan, guys. I support Sonia Brown. I didn't just say that right now. I've been saying that on the show. I have been saying that, folks. The same thing I did with Crystal Haynes. I supported Crystal Haynes. Crystal Haynes didn't come over and didn't decide that she was going to be a DLP, and I don't even care about that. It's a matter of the principle. Look at what Crystal Haynes did. And there are people who tell me, well, she didn't leave the BLP, so don't. No. No, that's what. No. Miss me with that. Yeah. Yeah, she stood up, and where are we now? I stood up. Miss Drake's Crystal Haynes stood up. We have to keep standing. Yeah. We have to keep standing. We must keep standing. Some people can say, why we bother march then? Because nothing happened. We got bills that push back. Yes? We have a caller calling. Good night, caller.
Yeah, hi, hello?
Yes, welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Yeah, hi. I just want to give my 2 cents worth on the topic that you are there discussing now.
Yes.
Right? First of all, right, we're the loyal opposition. It ain't about party, it's about people standing up for the rights and not being a yes man, or in this case, a yes woman. And Miss Brown, despite even her own point of down and not something the table when she gets up to speak and all the attitudes you see, she stands firm in her beliefs, as so did the former Senator Crystal Haynes. So I quite agree with you 1,000,000%, Marcia, that, you know, she's standing right for justice and for truth. And I applaud her, and I would encourage her, if she is listening, to continue to conduct herself in the way that a true politician should, not in some of the salacious ways that we see carrying on, and then they want to talk about that we should exercise decorum and respect. Well, they have to show the example, and quite frankly, the majority of them are not examples. Maybe that's why a lot of young people are the way they are. Thank God for Damien and the others to show people the right way, you know. And so I quite agree. And to end, as I said today, right, everybody has a choice in life. Michael Ashley made his choice. He has to live with the choices he made. And that is the end of that. We need to move on. We have pressing things to deal with. Have a good night.
Yes, good night. Thank you, caller. I think well said. That's my my sentiment. Really, and you know, I'm just I try to be fair about what we're doing, and you know, and that's why I you know, this platform, they don't come, the third parties don't come. I have to be hunting them down, but it is so a place of opposition. It's a place of opposition, guys, and we don't change it. We're not going to change it because yeah, somebody said when you lie with dogs, you get fleas. I understand all of that, but that's the space that she's in, okay? And so we support her, and I know it's not going to be easy for her, especially if that is really what they're doing. But trust me, she's a little woman, but she's talawa. You understand? They're not going to be able to get you. She's also very smart, and you know, I think that we need to be careful that we don't become so partisan that we can't, just like what they did with the young people, decided to spit them out and chew them up and spit them out for nothing. You know, Eric Lewis, when he knows that he was doing Mad and all the characters that he plays, he's not a transvestite, but he wears female clothes to bring up, you know, to do a part. Is he promoting that? Some people might say he's promoting that. He's not, and he's not endorsing that either. You know, it is his character, you know, but because of politics, then they do these kinds of things, and we don't want to do that, you know. We don't want to do that because of politics, right? But I want to jump to something else. So Dave, if you could put up Trevor Prescott's picture for me, please, before we close. Oh my goodness, I have 10 minutes. I've got to do it because let's put up Trevor Prescott's picture. Correct. You have to be strong and bold and stand up to a bully. And I want to also talk about David Davis, who I know he probably couldn't care about me, but again, I'm a person of principle. All right, that's me. I am principle based, and so I want to talk about Trevor Prescott. Now, there is a fast talking prophet, a fake prophet, false prophet. How I know he's false? Because I have spoken to people that he goes around and try to sell prophecies to. And he claims that he is a prophet of Mia Motley. He is a prophet for Skerrit in Dominica. Dave, you have these pictures. Let me send you a picture of this prophet that is selling prophecy and want to be the one. He's up and down in St. Michael East. I don't know who sent him there. I don't know who sent him there. Okay, but give me a couple minutes. Let me deal with this one here, right? Because this here, again, this is a bully. This is how they like to bully people, and a bully is a bully. Do you hear me? And I'm glad that Trevor Prescott is one of the men that in there that got the balls to deal with that bully. Trevor Prescott, right? And Dave, I'm trying to find it for you because just hang with me there, guys. Oh my goodness, Dave, you have a picture of Trevor Prescott you can put up there? Yes, go ahead and put up Trevor Prescott to remind the people. Trevor Prescott. And then I'm going to show you the fast talking prophet, right? That they want to bring around, that charging people. You know, I hate to put it up like this, but Dave, seen there, right? False prophets, selling prophecies. And supposed to, he's going around here to check on his Facebook. I went on there, enough pictures here, Motley, and he's, you know, and all of that. He says, and then they go to Dominica and he's prophesying over there. I read online where the people are saying he should not come back to Dominica. There are certain places he can't come back to. And so apparently, this is all that is happening inside of there. It seems like he is one of them that they want to vie for that position there in St. Michael East for that constituency. Trevor Prescott, if you're listening, let me know how it's going, if this is so. But this is what I'm getting to understand, that false prophet that's selling prophets, selling prophecy. Yeah, selling prophecy. They want to, that's who they want to unleash on the people. But, you know, they're all false. You see? So that's what they would do. Yes. And then, you know, I know that that Trevor Prescott had called out the other one there, that the Kimar Safri. So the whole thing is that the intention is to bully this man out of his seat. Right? The Miss Piggy effect. To bully this man out of his seat. So they have a whole lot of confusion in there. And I'm highlighting it because when, you know, every little thing or in any other party, they make a huge thing about it. And can't see what is happening inside there. Yeah, this is a false prophet here. False. He's selling prophecies. And my opinion is that you're selling prophecy. You're a false prophet. False prophet. He will give his big prophecies. He give the big prophecies to the leaders and chart, and they all the people paying all this money and all of that. Yeah, right. So more will come on him. I got some more on him. Some more will come. Some more will come. Dave, if you could bring up we have 6 minutes. And while Dave is doing that, let me just get back to Sonia Brown. Right? Do you know that Sonia Brown is one of them, the few of them, actually the only one who spoke about the integrity legislation, who was pushing for it, when her colleagues, they don't want integrity in public life, but Sonia Brown pushing for that. You all knew that? Hmm? And pushing now for the Public Accounts Committee. Did you know that? Yeah. And lots of other legislation. Do you know that Sonia Brown is one who stood up? I'm waiting on the thing, Dave, from it said David Davis. It's a post. If you find it, and you can put it up for me, Dave. Thank you so much. Do you know that who remembered Sonia Brown in Parliament speaking against the this gang culture and block culture and paying, and she was never for that thing about paying people on the blocks. You remember that? It's right there on social media. I am longing for the day that her and I can have a conversation. You know, even if she doesn't come on the show, I can take my camera. I live in St. Philip. I would like to hear, I want to know, Sonia Brown, if you're listening, I would take my camera and just film you. Nothing is wrong with that. I would come and film you, Sonia Brown. When you go in canvassing, especially if they're trying to move you out, I will follow you with my camera. Huh? If what Miss Martley is saying is true about Mr. Lashley, he shouldn't be running for nothing. So probably is that why the DLP took did the DLP miss a bullet there? Did the DLP miss a bullet there in St. Philip North? Oh boy, I'm just asking a question. I don't know. I only knew about the Public Accounts Committee stuff a couple of days before I read it on here, because I've always said Mr. Lashley, the work that he does. But my goodness, if these things are true, should he really be running anywhere? I am just asking a question. Now I'm moving on to David Davis, a post that he made. Reading Mr. David Davis's post does not mean that he endorses the Marcia Weekes Show. I am giving a fair comment on a public statement. Okay, this was what was posted on his page. Me reading David Davis' comment is not an endorsement, and this is where we don't understand how these things work. Right? You will watch Candace Owens is commenting on something Tucker Carlson said, or Joe Rogan is commenting on somebody else, and that's how it works. You give credit, right? It's fair use. So he says something here, and I want to take him up. I wanted to comment on it before I close the show, because I think that this is something very important that this young man is saying. Again, he's not a friend of mine, meaning that I don't know him on a first name basis. But he says, I have worked for government under both parties and have people who have a lot of love for in both major parties. Now, let me just, I needed to say that Mr. Davis had made a comment sometime about, Mr. Davis had made a comment about Lashley and being in the, being at the BLP conference and how he was embraced and so on. And we covered that last night on the program. So he is now making the second comment or second post. I don't know if something happened, but he's reacting to something or responding to something. I don't know. I'm guessing. He says, I have worked for government under both parties and have people who I have a lot of love for in both major parties. I have eyes, ears, and my own understanding. I have a moral compass that have guided me out of my youth to here right now, married with children and fighting the good fight. I have friends, but I also have rights. The right to choose and the right to speak. I operate from a place of love, and that's it. I don't make friends to get jobs. I work hard to get and I keep jobs. I encourage anyone who knows me and believe they have to give me a job because I am their friend to please refrain from such. Let me work because I have the ability to do the job and judge me based on such. If I am not getting work, then that means I have to improve my service or seek employment elsewhere. But don't tell me that I have to act outside of who I am in order to get work. It is very sad that my people think in such myopic ways. Love will always conquer, and I have plenty to share. So come, D2 love. Now, this is what it should be. But I want to tell Mr. David Davis, I don't know if he's aware or he might have been aware, that there are lots of people that are victimized, marginalized from speaking out. You're looking at one here on this program. That out of the cultural industry, there's a blackout against me and my business and my organization. And what I do are two organizations. Blackout. Do you understand? And he might have known or may not have known why he wrote this. But the reality is this. You talk out too much and they start to block you. They start to make sure that any bread you have in your mouth, they box it out of your mouth. I can tell you. And many others, not just me, many others will tell you. They'll call people and they'll make sure that you don't work and that you don't eat. They will starve you out. Yes, Alwyn Bob is a living proof. He was supposed to be on with me in this segment. Alwyn, I hope everything is okay now with your corner. Where they wanted him removed from the teaching profession because he ran as a DLP. Not realizing they had people in their party who did the same. That's the level of double standard and the wickedness that happens in this country. Look at when the union woman, Mary Redmond, was speaking out. But you know what? Nothing was wrong with that because she was speaking out on behalf of the DLP. The DLP did nothing to her. She was speaking out and she held her job and she did what she wanted to do. And every time she had the teachers marching. And on sick outs and all kinds of things. Yes, they're very wicked. They're very wicked. So, David Davis, thank you for acknowledging this, that people like me exist. Yeah? We exist. And people like Crystal Haynes exist. Crystal Haynes no longer has a job in the Senate. Thank God she wasn't depending on that. She's a medical doctor. Crystal Haynes, I will never forget you, girl. I'll never. You took the biggest hit. Yeah? So, I just needed to say that and to, in all honesty, to acknowledge him and what he said there, because that was powerful, David Davis. I know you don't want me to read the things on the show, but what you said there was powerful, and I don't have to be friends with you to realize that you've said something great and to acknowledge it. Okay. Folks, we miss you, Mr. Bob. Miss you, but I got through. And thanks to Dave, thanks to every one of them. Adrian Hines, thank you for reminding us. Folks, you got to vote. You have to vote. Their time is up. The time is up. Barbadians, we got to get rid of them. And I tell you, as you can see tonight, for me, honestly, for me, if I may, to be honest, I want a strong opposition, however it goes. However it goes. That's my dream, my ultimate dream. Because I'm not a member of a party. I'm who you'd call in the States, they would call me an independent. Because honestly, if you look at my voting record, you will see. I'm a girl who I go and read the manifestos and then make up my mind. And I just tend to I will go for the underdogs generally. Okay? And the person in my constituency that is working. And Mr. Neil, you're from the DLP, but let me tell you, he knows me. I had my talk with him already, Neil Marshall. I'm not ready for him yet. Let me leave him out of this, okay? Mr. Neil Marshall, I love you, but you know how it goes. And I give my vote to nobody that not doing no work in my constituency. I'm sorry for you. All right? So, folks, this is where we sign off, but it's important. Make up your mind, you're going to get rid of them. All right? Don't make no sense to watch your show, waste your time, watch your show and do nothing. Right? Talk to the people in your workplace. Show them the Michael Lashley thing and let them realize that the Prime Minister morning words and her evening words are not the same. She got some Pinocchio stuff happening to Miss Piggy. Got some Pinocchio stuff going on. Some Pinocchio things going on, just like the other one. Right? Like Abrams. He's a Pinocchio. I need to get my graphics for all of them, and I need to put all of them and all the character names I give to all of them. I need to put them in a whole picture and put on the character on them. I'm going to do that. All right. So, folks, this is where we sign off. God bless you all. Have a good night. Go right ahead, Dave.
You say when labor leads, Belgium succeed. Well, here we now. This the people creed. Let go. Boy, yeah. When labor leads, Belgians bleed. When labor leads, we find we knees. When me a lead, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor lead, Belgians bleed. When labor lead, no room to breathe. When me a lead, we can't achieve. Tell them no, the people grieve. Say progress, but who it feed? Promise sweet, but none succeed. Small man strain can't meet he need. Tell me again who really lead. Bills climb high, hope get lean. Talk sound good, but life still mean. Every day we toil and dream, still waiting on that brighter gleam. When labor leaves, Belgians bleed. When labor leaves, we stand we knees. When me a leave, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor leaves, Belgians bleed. When labor leaves, no room to breathe. When me a leave, we can't achieve. Tell them now, the people grieve. Forward, forward, but who we trust? Forward, forward, still eating dust. Me a lead, same old fluff. We tired now, enough is enough. Forward, forward, but who we trust? Forward, forward, still eating dust. Me a lead, same old fluff. We tired now, enough is enough. When labor lead, Belgians bleed. When labor lead, we turn we knees. When me a lead, we don't believe. Same old talk, same old scene. When labor lead, Belgians bleed. When labor lead, no room to breathe. When me a lead, we can't achieve. Tell them
When labor leads, I tell you, by going on my knees now. Bye-bye, folks. Love you all. It's been a wonderful night.